Welcome to livery.
I don't know if it's because of racing, but I'm like a sucker for sparkling water now.
Oh my God.
Like Pellegrino. It got so bad we had to get a soda stream. I had to ask for one for Christmas because like I got to bring in the sparkling water budget. We got to reel this thing in.
Yeah, I don't know when it happened, but like at some point, same thing, became obsessed with sparkling water.
Yeah.
Just ripped through a dozen a day.
Yeah.
I feel better than other people when I drink it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
It's very elitist.
It's just the bubbles. I'm like,
when you crack it in a Pellegrino, people are looking at you like, that's right.
yeah.
I can afford my water to have bubbles in it.
There's just something. There's something special. I don't know.
Like I've attained a level of exquisite taste that this is better to me than regular water versus
right. Although I can't do just sparkling water. It has to be like a little flavored, like LaCroix.
It is weird to me that water is literally the most essential thing to us continuing to live.
Yeah.
And so many people are like, man, I can't drink water alone. Right? Like, why aren't we so drawn to it as a species?
Yeah,
but like,
that's fair.
Yeah. You got to put flavor in it. You got to put bubbles in it.
So you literally just got out of the car. We're here at a WRL race, the first ever to come to Utah.
Yep.
How was it driving a Miata? Because this guy is obsessed with Miatas, so he's gonna love this.
Miatas, I mean, they're good. Like they're always good to go back to. I think I like the challenge that it brings when you get used to kind of a higher horsepower car, and it kind of brings you back to the basics. I mean, heel toe and just kind of feeling it's a very analog experience, and I like that aspect of the Miata racing, right? And so you kind of feel like, hey, I'm in control of everything in this car, meaning I can destroy it in a moment, and I can also make it go fast or slow. And there's no electronics to help assist me. Maybe a little bit ABS in the car we have, but doesn't do much except hinder you.
See, that's the reaction I would expect when you ask, like, do you like a Miata? And there's a long pause, and then you go, it's good.
That's,
It's comfortable, right?
It's not just the car itself. It's the racing that it produces because it's a momentum car. Because every regional spec Miata series is going to put 20 drivers on track where other classes might have 3, So I just think it's one of the most beautiful catalysts for competitive driving. Yeah. From the most grassroots level up to the MX-5 Cup. It's very consistent.
Yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly. Like it is phenomenal racing. If you're all in the same car, this is the weird thing about WRL is the classing of cars. And so you've got such variations even internal to the class that we're in. So really our car was a class lower car that moved up this year, and it doesn't quite fit inside the rule set in a way that makes it super competitive. But you can dice it up, and you can lean on it. Well, you can't lean on each other in WRL, but you can in other series. That's the fun part about it, right? GR Cup, I think, has done a good job as well with that, and having a platform that's very similar, very balanced, and then it's a momentum car. It teaches the right things, and you get really good racing out of it. So.
And I think with the rising tide of motorsports in general over the past few years, that is being seen more and more as a proper feeding system for moving into IMSA, moving into other series, like it's got eyeballs on it. Mm-hmm. Do you find if you're driving a Miata this weekend and then you get into something that has more horsepower and more aero, do you have to unlearn those momentum habits?
No, that they translate pretty well in some ways in terms of like, hey, trying to use minimal brake as much as you can, right? Like there's a different technique in how you want to brake in a GT4 car and how you do actually want to lean on the ABS in some situations because it is good and the computers are just faster than you and you have to accept that part of it, even though you don't want to believe it. Everyone says that, but I'm like, oh no, their computers are good. Like these are very smart people that have created these modules that make the TC and everything work. So that part of like understanding what advantages the car gives you and being able to exploit those to the best of your ability, I think is the thing you have to get in. And I kind of dealt with that last year, right? Because I ran the M2 and the M4 like back to back. Like I was getting out of one car and running, like literally getting out of the car and taking my helmet off and running to the next car to start the race. And so even between those two platforms, there's a pretty substantial difference. Like I would call the M2 more Miata-esque. It has more power for sure, but it's definitely not as refined as a full-on GT4 car in terms of suspension and no aerodynamics. Yeah.
Still with ABS and TC on both those cars?
Yeah.
Was your first time in WRL or not?
No, I kind of, with racing, I kind of started in WRL realistically. So really Champ Car was my first race. And if I go way back when, started on motorcycles through kind of getting into that through my military job. That's its own story. But when I got into cars, I did the sim thing out of, knew a guy that worked at iRacing. He was a teammate on the US bobsled skeleton team. He retired from the sport, went and worked at iRacing, gave me an account and said, hey, you should, I know you like to race. You definitely would enjoy this. And so I started getting into the sim thing more seriously.
Yeah.
And that just made me miss the racetrack. And so I got into Champ Car and drove a Nissan 350Z for like my first couple races.
Awesome.
Did pretty well. Charlotte Motor Speedway was my first like racetrack I ever really raced on.
Really?
No license. I didn't go through any licensing program, right?
Do you not need it for Champ Car?
No.
So it's like lemons in that regard where it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Wait, but what do you have to do on your first day? There must be.
Yeah, you have to have the gear, right? To make sure your gear, go get it texted. And then you have to have a team that will trust that you won't destroy their car.
But if you've never raced before, there's no like rookie track walk or HPDE type vibe where you have to sit next to an
There's
instructor.
practice session. No, none of that. So like, I remember. Yeah.
Do you have a seatbelt?
Yeah, you're like, hey, you got a harness, a Hans device, you're good to go.
Yeah, if not, they'll rent you one for $50.
Yeah. Yeah. So that, I mean, again, like I didn't know instruction. I just went straight to racing based off of doing sim stuff. And
sim stuff, but also you've been on track with a motorcycle.
Yeah. Same story there though. The same way I did that, I went. So we'll go to that story, I guess.
Yeah.
So when in the military for my job in special operations, we ride dirt bikes, right? And so I grew up always really wanting to be in motorsport and do dirt bikes and all this stuff. And so I remember when I rode it in the training, I was like, oh my gosh, I need to buy a motorcycle. And so I went and got a Ducati Monster 620, and that was like my first street motorcycle. I was obsessed with that bike, and that just turned into like, oh, I'm really interested in this. And we got stationed up in Washington State, and I ran into the local racing club at like a motorcycle show. I was checking out the new Panigale that's coming out or something like that. And it was the $11.99 at the time. Yeah. And so they're like, hey, you want to race? That was like the question they asked me as I was walking past the booth. And I was like, oh yeah, how do I do that? And they're like, hey, you just got to get a bike. You show up to a track day and you go through it. And as long as you pass the track day licensing program that we have, you can race the next weekend. So I went and bought an Aprilia Millie, 2002 Aprilia Millie, like 1,000 cc bike. It's not that powerful, big and heavy. And the first time I ever was on a track was at my licensing event. Passed it. Portland International was the track. And then, so good. I'm like, hey, you can race. And then the next weekend I go to a place called the Ridge Motorsports Park. Okay. That was where my first race was going to be. It rains. So, okay, all new experiences, like go get rain tires, put them on, crash.
At that level, they don't cancel races.
You put rain tires on.
Running.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, you want to talk about, I got scary. Like they have a track. Well, that's another story anyways. But so do that, crash in the rain because I get super confident because they're incredibly good. The rain tires are. Because you can put a knee down and everything in the wet still. It's pretty impressive.
Wow.
And so got a little too overconfident. Then my first race comes around. We had just had my wife had our first daughter. She comes out to the race. She's like 4 weeks old. You get a mentor. He gets in a crash. He gets life flighted out, and I'm supposed to do my first motorcycle race. My wife's there at the racetrack, and I've like done no professional training to do this in any capacity. I'm just sending it. So went out, did pretty well. I think we finished 5th or 6th, and I got on the podium at one point that season or the next year. But yeah, that's kind of how I got into motorsport. There's some nuance in there.
Just a bike in the rain.
Just a bike in the rain. I said, screw it.
That was before or after you were a member of the U.S. bobsledding
This is before.
team.
And so in that process, when you make mistakes in racing and motorcycles, that usually results in surgery. So I've had shoulder surgery or 2 because of that. And so when I started pursuing the bobsled thing, I was like, hey, these 2 things are incongruent. I probably need to like give up racing on that front. And focus on this bobsled thing. So
I was just saying, I think it's incredibly impressive because most people that say, oh, I just got in and drove, they have something that kind of directly correlates that gives them an advantage, right? Like they have experience in something else that they can apply to racing. But it sounds like you maybe didn't really have that other than riding a dirt bike.
Yeah. No, I don't know what it was. It all felt kind of natural right away. I just kind of watched people do it, watched them on boards, and I was like, okay, there's an athletic component to this. And so I probably can figure that part out. And I mean, to be fair, I wasn't like terribly good at motorcycle racing. I was decent. Club racing, I could finish pretty well, but I moved up and started racing the Panigale. And so the weird thing with that is when you're in the rain, there's one track actually where they filmed Art of Racing in the Rain, Pacific Raceways. So that track, the front straight is actually, they don't show it in the movie, but it's a drag strip that kinks. There's like a wall and it kinks into the first part of the racetrack.
Okay.
So you go through there at, in the dry, it'd be about 170 as you're leaning into that kink.
With a wall on the outside?
With the wall on the inside. You're kind of aiming at the wall end of it, and it's blind on the exit. So in the wet, you do the same thing. I'm probably doing 150 because I'm not quite to the full throttle mode through there. And what the veteran racers there said, hey, he's like, be prepared. The front end is just going to start to wash across the track, but it'll hook up because there's like a river that runs across there, a little stream. And so
that's nice.
I was like, oh, okay, no problem. I'm only doing 150 and the nose is about to disappear on me. But that's exactly what happened. So you really had to get good at feeling, the machine underneath you and wet racing and the bikes. And so MotoGP and motorcycle racing is some of my favorite to watch because I have a huge amount of respect for what those guys can do on those machines.
Yeah.
It's pretty nuts. So
you can also see it. It's something we've had guests talk about how in motorsports, for the most part, with car racing, it's hard to really get the personality of the driver because you're in a helmet, you're in a car. You don't see them doing the things that make the car go fast. But in MotoGP, any motorcycle racing, you get to see them do the action. You get to see their body lean. You get to see, all of the micro adjustments, particularly in slow motion.
Yeah.
And it makes the viewing, I think, very captivating.
Yeah.
You can see them flip each other off. You can see them like turn around and look backwards. Like
You might know the clip. I don't know the riders or anything, but the gentleman that grabs the other gentleman's brake.
Oh man,
do you know what I'm talking about? It was years ago now.
Yeah, I know exactly. He got a ban for that one.
Did he really?
Yeah, that was a big deal. Usually, what you do is you reach over and you hit their power switch, especially if you have like a street bike that was a race bike. So you just kill the ignition. If you want to mess with them. But the brake lever was a bit much.
Yeah.
It was definitely too far.
Did your bike have like the front winglets? Like the Aero package?
It was before those. It was like that next gen, the 1299s is when you started to see that come out on the R version of it. I had, the thing was, it was a scary rocket ship. I mean, you would come out of the final corner of the ridge and and it just felt like the bike was just going to leave you. Like you'd be full throttle and you're not going to fall off, but it just felt like that.
Yeah.
It's just like power wheelie.
And just so light on the front.
Yeah. And then you're just, you're doing 180 by the time you hit to where the brake zones are. Like there's not many race cars that you can do that in a short straightaway.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So that was,
and it's probably 400 pounds, 300 and something pounds.
Yeah. Just over with full, probably just over 400.
Okay.
Yeah. It was about, I want to say that bike had around 200 horsepower.
Yeah. That sounds right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they'll be light the whole way, like on the front end.
Oh, it's great. Like you watch the slow motion MotoGP and they come out of those corners and they're just like crossed up, no problem, just riding the rear wheel and just power wheeling for like 2 football fields, and you're just like, that's so cool.
So when you were doing it, what was the dream? Was it just I'm here now, I'm having a good time? Was there any sort of like trajectory? Like were you trying to do Isle of Man? Like what was
No, I didn't. I didn't really, that's the thing that's funny about everything with motorsport. I never really started it with the aspiration to say, hey, I want to do this at a professional level. Because I was really focused on bobsledding and I'd grown up kind of just doing athletics. Like I would have in a different life, if my parents had let me chase my things I wanted, I probably would have chased motorsport as a kid, but I didn't have that opportunity. So I've always kind of been a sports guy. And so I was like, hey, that's where all my aspirations had lived in the athletics or sports world. And so racing was just kind of this thing I love and seemed to come even more naturally than sports did. So I was like, oh, well, we'll just see how it goes. And so like, even with the car stuff, I did Champ Car, did a WRL race. Actually, the team I'm driving the Miata here with is same team from back in 21 was when that happened, or end of 2020. And And then that same team, the owner, John, said, hey, I've got this M2. If you can find the funding, we want to go run this in SRO. That was 21. So this is still in my first year of racing. So I go and I find the funding. I don't know how I did it. I think my wife took a risk on me. We got to use some of our savings. It was very gracious of her. Karen, she's the best. Yeah, I gotta keep the cookie, the brownie points high. So I can keep doing this.
So you can keep doing it.
Yeah. So we found the funding, and I'd never even driven the M2. It showed up at VIR. It was my first weekend SRO in 21.
Okay.
And never even sat in the car. Maybe sat in the car. Never driven it. Never been on slick tires. Showed up that week, and I think we took third place in the first race. So, and I was like, and at that moment, I was like, okay, maybe there's something here.
And you raced with Lucas that first year, right? And the other M2, Catania?
I think Catania.
Or was it the year after?
It was the next year. 22 was the year.
Okay.
So I did one event because that's all I could afford to do. I did one event VIR, third and fourth place. 22, I had the way that worked is I found Samantha Tan's team that had a kind of a subsection of it called STR 38. And so they had an M2 and I had a 987 Cayman. Didn't have any funding, but I was like, well, I really want to go racing. So I sold the Porsche to go race the BMW, which is blasphemy, I know, to Porsche owners. But hey, racing is that good. So, and then, that was my second time in the car. I hadn't driven it between 21 till I think that was the fall of 22. First time at Indy, I think I took pole position over everybody by like 0.3. And Jacob Rudd was there as well. He was going to be this 2-time champion that year. So I was like, okay, maybe this is maybe I've got a knack
it's a thing. Yeah.
And so that's kind of when I started to let's really start trying to chase sponsorships and how do I do this more consistently? So.
And you were active military while doing all of this.
Yeah, still am. Yeah.
What kind of conflicts arise with military duties? Thank you for your service, by the way.
Yeah.
But what kind of conflicts arise being active military and trying to race?
Yeah, so this is where the bobsled thing makes the story unique, right? Okay. So part of the reason I was doing one events is because I was competing at the same time. So I was on the U.S. team at the time, and then in the off seasons, it kind of works, right? You're not competing in the summer and in a winter sport, so you had some time to chase some racing stuff. So that military had a very unique program called the World Class Athlete Program, and what that does is it cuts you away from your primary duties. And all you do is focus on training for the Olympic trials and the Olympic Games ultimately. So.
Did you get a business card that says World Class Athlete?
Yeah. Yeah. It's in my official records in the military. Like one of my duty titles is World Class Athlete.
You are officially a World Class Athlete.
Cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah. But so that gave me some freedom of maneuver to do that part. Okay. And then these last years though, I've been back in like a full-time role and I've just had good commanders be willing to allow me to use my vacation time and give me it's not been that much time away. It's not like I'm doing a NASCAR calendar where, it's crazy weekends. You're talking 6 to 7 weekends a year.
Yeah.
And a handful of WRL events. So it's been tight, but it's been possible. So I would love to do more, but that's just where I'm at.
So you're stationed in Florida then?
I am, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Got it.
Yeah, not a bad spot.
Not a bad spot?
No.
So world-class athlete, is that the term?
World-class athlete.
World-class. I'm going to write that down so I don't forget it. As a world-class athlete, doing motorcycle racing, bobsledding, and endurance racing, how's the physicality, the athleticism compare between the three?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think the one thing I'd say is like athletes generally like hand-eye coordination, some of those like kinesthetic awareness, some of that stuff that just comes inherently with doing athletics for a long time, I think translates pretty nicely between motorsport and that. The uniqueness of bobsled is it's, I think we run 45 meters max, not even that far when you're pushing the sled, because I was pushing in the back.
Okay.
And so it's really a power speed thing. And you had to be big and heavy. So, I kind of got my weight all the way up to 220 pounds and I was like lifting all the time. And that was the focus.
Yeah.
So very not helpful when it comes to like adding weight to a race car. You don't want that. So since I've stopped bobsledding, that's been the opposite. It's like, okay, how do I lose all that weight? Run a lot more, be focused on cardio. And so really you can handle the conditions in the car so you can stay super focused, because I was saying I don't wear a cool shirt and some of those other things that help. And the way I get around that is just say I get comfortable being uncomfortable through training. And that's how I'd manage that. So I don't lose focus in a long run or a double stint in a Miata. So
has your military training also played a part in that mindset?
Yeah. Like with our job is called special tactics, and what the training pipeline's about 2 years long to get through it. And the closest thing for like a quick correlation is like the Navy SEAL type training that you've seen on TV. Like we do the same stuff. So you have the underwater training where they tie you up and they throw you in the water, and you have to do drown proofing and all of those things where you really have to like kind of conquer your mind is really the game, because you're never really underwater as long as you feel like you are. But it's like, how do I stay calm in a very stressful environment? And that's one way that they induce combat stress in a simulated environment. Like I can't shoot at people and do that legally, right?
Yeah.
So the only other thing that makes you feel like you're about to die is being underwater without oxygen. So that's kind of how they get after it. So that aspect has been helpful in terms of like just having control of your mindset.
Which branch are you with again?
I'm the Air Force.
Air Force?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that anything? Do you bring any of that sort of military mindset into the teams? Like, do you take any like a mentorship role in any team that you're on, or are you?
So I try to be, because I like my role as an officer. So I'm a commander of a squadron. So I have about 140 folks underneath me, up to 200 with students because it's a training squadron. So it's kind of a natural place to be, because you're like, oh, I'm used to kind of being in charge and having that kind of position in an organization. With racing, I try to like, okay, like there's team principals or folks, lead techs and crew chiefs and everything, that their job is to run the team, and I'm not trying to be overbearing in that capacity. Mm-hmm. Now, that doesn't mean like, I'm like, hey, maybe I've seen a way to do this well, because one thing that's pretty incredible is I would say that motorsports correlation to the military is pretty strong in terms of like, hey, you've got a team of all these people that have different skill sets that have to work together to get an objective accomplished. And you take all your stuff to a random location and you get set up, and everyone's part matters, right, to be successful. So if you were like, hey, I'm launching an F-15 or an F-22, you need maintainers, you need air traffic control people, all that stuff to make that possible. Motorsports the same way, right? You got to do all the stuff to get the driver on the track, and his success on the track or her success on the track is all really dependent on everything that happened beforehand. I mean, yes, you have to do the thing and do it well, but if you don't have a good car or brakes and all those things like we're dealing with now, like, that's.
And also trust, right? Like you have to trust your team.
Absolutely.
That they've given you a car
for sure
that functions, you know, that's going to keep you safe. So you were talking about sim racing earlier, which we were talking about before this started.
Yeah.
Fairly early adopter into sim racing, but also you were a part of developing was it the M2?
M2, yeah.
Yeah, for the current update?
Yeah, so the M2 that was released, that car in the sim is actually my car. They scanned our car, and then the livery, that's like a default livery choice is ours, which is pretty cool, like full circle moment, because that's how I kind of got into it all, right? And you're like, oh man, here we are, and you're in iRacing now. So actually, that M2 ended up in race room too, randomly. Like someone was like, hey, by the way, like you go in there, you can click the 104 and Chris Walsh, and you're on the M2 update. And I was like, oh, that's pretty wild. You have to pay for the livery. I was like, I'm not getting any of that money. What the hell? But
is it the M2 comp?
It's the CSR. So like,
CSR,
CS racing. So yeah, that was cool. And that experience was cool because you just kind of shone a lot of light on how do they do that? How do they bring all the technical engineering data that BMW provided them for the M2, and then marry that with my feedback and the way that their simulator software is developed, like tying all those things together is pretty interesting. And I don't know all the ones and zeros on the backside of that. That's not, but
does it feel similar talking to an iRacing developer engineer?
Yeah.
With feedback as it does your race engineer on a race day? Are you giving them similar types of info?
And the guy that was doing it with me, he was a NASCAR. He used to do NASCAR engineering. So he had a lot of like real world experience with racing. So I think that was probably on purpose, because then they're used to talking to racing drivers and say, hey, this is what I'm feeling. And he's like, okay, these are the levers I need to pull to make those adjustments. And then you kind of come to a compromise like, hey, because what I'm feeling is essentially my opinion, right?
Yeah.
It's not necessarily what another guy in the car feels. So if Lucas is driving the car, he may sense something different than I sense. I just sensed it better because I was faster than him. Kidding. I like Lucas.
Lucas, if you're listening.
But yeah, so that it's a bit of a translation on my end. And so you kind of marry those two things together and also make something that is, drivable, right? Because like the way I want the car set up could be, it's like everyone says Max wants a really pointy car. Like I kind of like a car that's like that. So you don't necessarily want to make that the baseline of what the car is in the simulator, right? You want to be able to maybe get it tuned to that level with the setup. But so we had to find that because my feedback is based off how I've set the car up, not how the car would be driven in a very neutral setup, if that makes sense. So you kind of have to make sure you walk the line there a bit.
Well, some of the cars are better than others in iRacing. Like, how do you feel about the M2 now in terms of driving it?
Yeah.
Is it close? Is it still?
I think it's pretty close. Okay. It's probably a touch slipperier than it is on the tire, but some of that's tire model than it is so much the way the chassis is. Like in terms of like it being very bouncy, and that's how the car is, very much like that. The electronics aren't that refined. The brake is it's a boosted brake pedal, which is very disappointing in a race car. But so that was a big change between the M4 and M2 when I was doing that. But so generally the chassis dynamics and everything like that is good. I think when they update the tire model to what they did with the GT4, because I was working with them on that recent update as well, doing the Porsche stuff, helping them with the Cayman feedback, because the BMW was pretty good already. So once we kind of talked to that and the tire model that they introduced to that and did some updates to the dynamics of the chassis, I think the GT4s are in the best place they've ever been. So
do you drive when you're doing this R&D? Do you drive the same car on different sim rigs to get a feel for, a higher end, a lower end?
So no, it's just all my stuff at home.
Okay.
And then I mean, it's exhausting actually to do the testing because I take it pretty seriously because I'm trying like, hey, this is going to go out to a lot of people and I want them to have a good experience. And I also am going to benefit from this. So
would you take it personally if on Discord someone's like, the new M2 sucks?
Yeah. No, but it's good. I mean, it's like, okay, well, the good thing is I think the reception was pretty solid. And so they invited me back to do other feedback stuff. So I'm assuming it wasn't that bad. Yeah. But yeah, I did it. My rig at home is just a fixed rig, so I don't have any motion. And it's all set up with like the dimensions that most of the cars I drive would be, like in terms of like where the steering wheel is, kind of steering wheel angle, how the pedals are height wise to me is kind of more GT4 focused, GT3, GT4 focused. Yeah. And then I've got a set of pedals from a company called Simcraft, which are a tilt and pedal box that is just a potentiometer. That's not the right one. It's not a potentiometer. Load cell. Okay. And so I use them because they have a good feeling. And so, I'd love to have some of the SemiCube ones, but
can you stand on those pedals?
Yeah, you can.
You can?
Yeah. I have it like really as stiff as you can get it. So
yeah. I have the SemiCube pedals and I love them.
Yeah.
Just the variability, like you can change everything.
That's cool. Yeah.
So
we were talking about this outside where, you can make something that drives exactly like the car, but, sim rigs themselves, the difference between the Logitech baseline one and a big motion sim, like you kind of have to, I would imagine, find that happy medium where it'll be good in all of them, like
well, even in spec racing and iRacing, it's not really spec racing. Everyone's on a different rig. Everyone has different settings.
Oh yeah.
And people know how to like cheat the game, the system, and others don't. And that's something we struggle with, like in the Riot Sim League. At least I do. Like I set my rig up to be like the car as close as possible so that it's a training tool and, I can use it to, practice. But it's not the fastest setup if you're just trying to have pace in iRacing.
100%.
Right? Like it's like in real life, you have to stand on the brake almost as hard as you can, like your whole body, and get into the ABS. And if you don't, you're not braking hard enough. But in iRacing, it's like it wants 60, 70% pedal and stay out of the ABS or you'll lose a second in the corner. Yeah. So that's been something that like I struggle with, is that balance of like, do I use it as a training tool or do I try to have like just raw pace in online sessions? You know?
So we have, I set up the sim rig, not for going fast, and you have the cool suit not working, so we're 2 down. we're gonna get through more driver excuses.
Yeah, for sure. I have a lot more.
You kind of need a cool shirt in your sim rig. I guess
I get sweaty in there.
On your Instagram, there's a video of you racing in the sim with your helmet on.
Yeah,
that a normal thing?
I think sometimes I did that just to be funny on Instagram. I've done that sometimes just like if I want to like, hey, be uncomfortable and just drive a super long stints.
Okay.
And just kind of get used to that feeling. You can get away. That is one way to do it. I don't do that as much anymore because it's kind of like, okay, it doesn't really help me. It hasn't proved to help me that much.
Right.
But yeah, I think, just sitting in a static seat that's like a full containment seat, like you have a giant fiberglass seat, it just not a lot of airflow.
Yeah, it gets hot. Yeah.
You get hot.
Right.
So I have some tubing that I built that has like a inline fan that you would use for like a greenhouse or something, and then that pumps air that I can just direct to my body wherever I want it to go. So it's been kind of.
I have just a fan too. Yeah. I mean, it makes a huge difference. Do you lean more towards a more realistic sim setup, or do you lean more towards having pace in the sim? Because they're two totally different things.
I go for I'm doing this to be as good as I can be in real life. So I'm willing to accept like, hey, I'm a few tenths off of the aliens in the sim. If that's the case, I'm still pretty fast in the simulator, even that way. And so I was like, hey, if what I've kind of seen with like sim times, what I can do in the sim and what I can do in reality, trying to close that gap as much as possible has been kind of an interesting challenge. Because, for example, the GT4 before the new update with iRacing, you could really like slip the tire a lot everywhere, and you didn't really have a big penalty to overheating the surface of the tire. And so the times you could do in the sim were just kind of nuts.
Unrealistic. It's not realistic.
And you just could keep doing them. It's like, hey, back to back to back. And so that was always the challenge. Like, hey, I always had this like, hey, if I'm a second off of what my sim time is in reality, then I've done a pretty good job, I think. And so that's been kind of my barometer. I think that's where I've been pretty most of the time. It doesn't make great comparison videos when you're trying to do Instagram because you're like, why are you so much slower in real life?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's different, right? And obviously the consequences of making mistakes are different. So
absolutely. Do you stick to GT4, that type? Do you do any dirt racing, any other stuff in the sim?
Yeah. I drive the GT3s a lot in iRacing because they've done such a good job with the way the tire is now. It's a lot of fun. I like to mess with the formula cars. Like I really love the prototypes and formulas, and I just love the very precise method that you have to drive the cars, right? It's very like, you can hustle GT cars a lot, right? You can kind of get them loose and it's okay.
Yeah.
You don't get away with that stuff in a formula car. You really have to be very precise about where you're putting the car, when you're braking, all your brake traces. It's always like that in every car, but it's just exaggerated there. So that's something. The challenge is like a brake trace in like a formula car is very different than how you would do it in a GT car, because you're going to hold it, you're going to use some ABS. You may hold a pressure for a while, or you kind of peak it and then you come out of it really, really steadily in a formula car because you've got aero aiding and all these other things. So I try not to do too much, because at the same time, and then you start to adopt these other techniques and like, and then you go to the real car and like, you can't really get away with that in a GT car the same way. So
yeah, we were talking about that with someone, or I was recently, that there's like a point of diminishing return.
Yeah.
If you are trying to use iRacing or any of the sims as a tool to get better at real life racing, like there's a point where you could potentially, exactly what you're saying, pick up habits that don't make you fast on track, but they're kind of ingrained.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I started doing that on the sim where like it was like lightening like trying to get the brake pedal to send 60% to iRacing, so that I could stand on it like a real car and not have it not just peak to 100.
Yeah.
So it's just like trying to game that system where like, how do you get that balance of like a realistic driving experience? And it kind of feels like you can be fast, but you're always going to be kind of 8/10 compared to like if you do like almost like a light pedal feel, light wheel feel. And just, I think that's a lot of the difference.
Yeah, no.
But
if you turn force feedback down, that's definitely an advantage.
Yeah.
I run the force feedback to what it's going to feel like in the car, and I want it to be, it's a bit more physical to drive in my sim rig.
I mean, guys even like turn it down so they can just hear the tires, no engine noise.
Oh yeah.
And
I do that. I do cheat that.
I'm that guy as well. I'm all, because again, you don't have that.
See, I turn the volume
at all.
I turn the volume of the car all the way up, and I just blast myself out.
Like, that's exactly what it's like. All I hear is a gearbox. You never hear the tires.
Yeah, you can't hear the tires at all.
Yeah.
So, but it's not the fastest way to get around the sim for sure.
Yeah, no, definitely.
You just have to accept it.
Yeah,
but
yeah. So you've also done some off-road racing. We were talking about that. You did the Mint.
Yeah, I did the Mint.
How'd that come about?
So, in the military, one of the guys that I went through training with, his name's Austin. He got out at one point and started working with somebody. He actually brought me to WRL and GTO. The gentleman he was working with had a team called Rule One, and they were running some 981 Cayman GT4s. And so they gave me an opportunity to drive for them for a couple of years or a season and a half, I think, as we did together. And I got to run a lot of events in that car. But Austin like loves off-road racing. He's like, yeah, I'm going to go do this Mint thing. And I'm going to rent a trophy light and I need co-drivers. Do you want to do this? And I was like, I mean, if it's got wheels and a steering wheel, yeah, I'll drive it. And it's just fun because you're in it with like a buddy, right? Like, hey, I've known Austin for a while and it's just kind of cool to be in this experience with somebody and someone's nabbing with you. And so everything that happens, you can be like, it's not just you like, yeah, this crazy thing happened. And you're like, yeah, well, prove it to me. You know, like, you're like, yeah, he was there. So that part of it was really cool. And the crowd and it's very grassroots feel to it. And so, while pro racing is great, there is a lot of like, you know, circumstance around it. And so this was just, you know, go send it through the desert and a little different because you can't like visualize how fast you're going. You kind of just have to, in terms of like, hey, I see another car, I'm catching them. You know, it's hard to know if you're catching up until you end up like I catch somebody because I'm in their dust cloud. I'm like, okay, I've caught someone, but yeah, that's.
Do you get deltas in the car?
You probably do, but I didn't have a reference point. Like I don't know what's fast. Like it's my first time running the stage, so I'm like I just go as fast as I can. Which was kind of, I mean, I think the truck topped out at like 90 miles an hour. You know, which is still something when you're hucking it off of these jumps and everything. So that was kind of cool.
Are you able to test or prepare beforehand, or are you just showing up?
Again, same thing. So I used, I had to search for this. Like, what do you use? Because iRacing doesn't really have a good example for stage type things, right? They've got some
stage rally,
trucks.
any of those, like,
So, what was it? Beam and G, they have trophy lights in theirs and they have like open world where you can run around like what the Nevada desert looks like. Cool. And they had some like stage, like there was tracks cut into the map. So I used that and it ended up being pretty decent in terms of understanding, you know, don't brake when you're scared of something that you shouldn't hit. Or it's like, one of the things is keeping the nose up all the time, right? So if you have a lot of washouts on the trail, so rain will come through, it'll wash out the trail and you'll have like 3 foot deep, 2 foot wide, 4 foot wide ravines that essentially you're traveling over at speed. If you get up to that and our natural tendency is to brake, if you brake at that moment and then plow the nose down and then hit that thing, normally what happens is you break the frame of the front of the truck. And so they're like, hey, if you see that, stay on the gas or add gas and it'll lift the truck up and the suspension will do its job. And so that was the hardest thing to adjust to. It was like, okay, throttle out. When in doubt, throttle out.
That's wild.
Yeah. And it worked every time. You just be like, oh, this is going to hurt really bad. This is the big one. And you'd be like, boop. I'm like, oh, wow.
Really?
Okay. That's
so
nuts.
This was a trophy
light. So they run a 6-cylinder. Yep.
Spec motor?
Yeah. I think they're spec trucks for the most part. I think one company makes the trophy lights. I don't know exactly how it works. I'm not super versed, but
yeah.
Do you know what the cost of the truck is for a trophy light?
Ooh, good question. No.
I mean, are we talking 100 grand, 500 grand?
No, it's not. I think 100 would be high.
Okay.
But
oh, wow.
Probably in that. If you get all the accoutrement and like spares, probably is where it ends up.
The chill out shirt. And, all the good stuff.
Chill out on that would be probably a good thing.
Yeah, I was going to say, did you run? You didn't wear one during that?
No, we didn't have one. No.
Jesus.
Really?
Yeah. At least there's a lot of airflow.
I think. I don't think there's a windshield on it.
Yeah.
So you just have the visor
screen,
down, right? And so you had a lot of air flowing through the truck, anyways. And that was the funny part. It's like we went through this giant puddle at one point, and so you're like wiping your like trying to keep your foot pin.
Yeah.
Like mud all over your face.
Do you have tear offs on the visor or not?
I should have, but I didn't. So yeah.
You had no tear offs?
We do tear offs. Yeah, I forget. I just remember it was like I couldn't see as well afterwards. It's like you can't just open your visor, right? It's just dust everywhere.
Yeah, so. It's like a cartoon. You just keep wiping and wiping.
Yeah.
Man.
Was it obviously a novel experience? Is it something that you would, if given the option, invest time into getting better at, doing more off-road racing?
Yeah, I've always thought. I don't know if I would do like the Baja stuff all the time. I like it. It was fun. I would really be interested in trying to rally out and taking that somewhere, but it's just one of those things like, hey, I have so much time in the day and I'm trying to get, on the GT side of things and seeing how far I can go there. So I've kind of tried not to do too many things at once. Cause
you'd prefer to have a GT seat than like a rally seat.
Yeah. Probably,
Yeah.
right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're both fun.
What are
You can't be wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what are, this is usually a question towards the end of the interview. We'll get to it now. I mean, what are your goals, right? Like sounds like you want to stay in road racing.
Yeah.
What are your,
what
are the aspirations? Where do you want to be?
Yeah, I have big aspirations. Probably beyond. I think setting even unrealistic goals is always good because it's just, hey, it's something to drive towards, and I've always been that way. So really, where I'd like to go, a lot of endurance racers want to do Le Mans, Daytona, but I would like to get to GT3. I'm very interested in prototypes. Like GTP fascinates me. It'd be awesome to drive those types of cars. It's a big step in moving up that ladder, but really like getting to running like an endurance calendar, and maybe even like IMSA here and running WeatherTech would be incredible. And being able to do that, and if that's as far as it ever gets, then great. That's way further than I ever expected to be. But even going to like WEC and taking it international, I've always found that pretty fascinating. So a lot of things, I don't know exactly what that glide slope looks like. And so I've kind of just focused on, hey, how do I climb the ladder in the US and then try to make the jump maybe at some point in there if I can find the success, and, you know, obviously support and all the other things that come with getting those types of seats is challenging. But I guess GT3 is probably the next thing on my, like, I would love to tick that off and start racing GT3 cars and just kind of see how that goes. Like, I've got that one opportunity in the LMP3, and I was like, okay, it's about where a GT3 car is in terms of, you know, lap time. They make it in a little different way, but yeah, I think that would be.
Did it feel like a lot to you as far as just the way, the speed at which things?
That was the thing that kind of blew my mind. It was pretty intuitive. They lock up a lot easier, and it doesn't telegraph it as much as I expected. Like you don't sense the lockup coming. You kind of just have to know where the threshold is, and there's no ABS there to save you. So I had a lot of little lockups here and there, nothing crazy, but you're just kind of finding like what's the limit on the braking, and when you're at the limit, you're over it, right? So.
And they're aero cars, so you're on the limit initially.
That was what's crazy is, like, you know, the track I did it at, I didn't know what the sensation of downforce, like actually becoming a thing, felt like. And so the corner that I went through, I was driving a 997 GT3 at one point, taking my wife around. I did a pretty funny Instagram video because she hates going fast. But and then I did that, and I was like, oh, you go through this turn one and just like don't lift at all. And I was like, wow, that's downforce. And it's just such a raw experience. And you're sitting in like that Formula style. And yeah, I don't know. It was just very like, this is what it felt like a race car is meant to feel like. You know, everything is on demand. Like you turn a little bit, like everything, it does exactly what you want to do. You're not waiting on the car to catch up to you. And so that was, I think that was pretty like intoxicating. I was like, oh yeah, I can get used to that. Yeah. And the sounds, right? So the V8 in that car, you're just like, it was something else. So
what was it like coming off you're coming off your first year in IMSA, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah. It was, you know, I didn't get as, you know, I wanted to come in and win right away, as everybody would. But you do have Livery's first IMSA podium. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, put it in the record books. They just hang it up here somewhere. Yeah,
it needs to be in the museum later.
But yeah, I mean, it's definitely a step up. Like, you know, I expected it to be a bit more competitive, and it is, like, talented drivers, and you got teams with lots of money, and I was kind of here on a shoestring. So I think I'm happy with, like, we've had, I think, 3 overall podiums this season, and probably a couple other ones that slipped out of our fingers for a number of reasons. So yeah. You know, we had opportunity to be there all race, and I've done all season, and I've done that in 2 separate cars. Like, started out the year in BMW, and then had to switch teams into the Porsche. And so I was kind of happy with being able to find the same level of pace in both cars. That was cool because they're very different in their experience. So
when you say a different level of competition, do you mean the average driver just in general is faster, or is it the way in which the drivers race?
It's a bit of both. Like SRO is competitive. Like, and they've got some of the best GT drivers in those series for sure. So there's a lot of speed there. It's not, I wouldn't say as aggressive in some capacities. Like, you just get it somewhat can be tamer. It can also be a complete disaster too. Like it has both sides of it, but IMSA always felt like it was like, it's all the way up all the time.
Just
right?
elbows out from green to checkered.
Yeah. And that's the way it is. And I like that. Actually, that's that's a lot of fun way to race. But just the raw pace of the drivers, that for sure, that was a big step. And getting in, I had done some GT4 the year before, but you're sharing the car with somebody, and I was learning GT4 truly to know how to go fast in it. So I wasn't quite all the way up to speed as I needed to be. And so then taking that and being like, okay, now I've got to set up the car exactly how I want it, which is nice. I'm not sharing it with a gentleman driver.
All right.
And so, I'm starting to figure out like what is fast, and how does the car need to feel, and do I need to be driving differently than I would to get more speed out of it? Like, how do I set the car up to be as fast as it can, and then I adapt to that versus make myself comfortable in the car? I was trying to get away from that feeling, which is a learning curve.
And they're all sprint races.
They are, yeah.
So does the setup, if you're doing an endurance race, again, is the setup something where you're like, okay, this is a happy medium for when the tires are on slicks, when they're beat up, when it's this driver, that driver? Is there any level of that as far as tire track evolution with the sprint races? Like, you kind of setting up for middle of the race, end of the race, beginning of the race, or is it just, it's fast, I'm going to go do it? You can do that. The challenge with the sprints is like, I think they're 45 minutes. And if it runs green to green, if you don't have the pace at the beginning, there's not enough time typically to catch up. Got it.
Like, you got to be there at the beginning. And then if the one race like Canada, we had a car that was really good in the long run, like the tire was there. So there was a caution. We got caught back up. And then at the end of the race, I was like, I wasn't that competitive early on, but at the end, I was like, okay, now I was fighting for the podium. And we got on the podium. And so that was the place where I was like, okay, it is different, but I wasn't there at the beginning. So if we hadn't had the caution, I was gone. I was out of the mix.
How is the tire evolution during a 45-minute race in that series? Can you actually burn the tires up where you have nothing at the end?
Yeah,
you can.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's probably about, even in Pilot Challenge, the endurance style of GT4, I think you're getting about 45 minutes ish to an hour of time in the car. I don't think they go much longer with fuel. So they're changing tires at that point. Could you keep running? I'm sure. Yeah, you could, but the pace is dropping off. Yeah, for sure.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
What's the pace difference between first 5 laps and last 20?
Probably, I don't know, like second and a half to 2 seconds. Track dependent, how abrasive the track is, track temperature, some of that stuff. But typically, the magic of the beginning of a slick, as you're aware, is special.
And are you guys running the same tire from quali for the start?
For
the race?
Yeah, you get the SRO does it that way, right?
Yeah.
They make you run a quali set. And actually with IMSA, you get just so many tire allocations in the weekend. So I think it's 4 for that series. And so if you use 1 in practice and then 1 for quali, and then you want to do 2 new sets on the races, you can do that. It depends on your budget. So I usually was using a quali set depending on the quali. If I had to like run long, that was the thing I'd learned. Like the Supra is it turns the tire on like immediately. Like that was the thing I struggle with every year with them on race starts is they're just like on the pace. I'm like, I'm trying to get the tire to turn on, especially on the front with the Porsches. And then
is that because of the turbo?
I don't know. That's a great question. I don't have answers for where those guys were at. So I felt that was one of the things. And that I guess
the Supras seem to have pace everywhere.
Yeah, they're good everywhere. And so that has been frustrating, but also like, okay, I'm always having to be like, okay, what do I need to do better? It's like, I can't blame the car all the time. Like, sure, maybe that's part of it, but I'm also, I've got to drive faster, and I'm having to push myself and like keep digging through the data and like really learn how to extract everything I can out of the machine. I think that's what I've liked about having to chase these guys. But
how big of a factor is bringing a tire up to temperature gently in those races?
I mean, quali, it's super important, like how you bring the tire in, so you can get like that magic lap or two. The race, you kind of want, you want to do the right thing in turn. What you're trying to look for really, I think, is having that pressure where you want it to be for the duration of the race. Like, so if you get good temp early, but then it spikes and you're outside the pressure window too high, you're going to be fighting with the car the rest of the race. So
do you have pressures in the car?
Like, you do, yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I know exactly, like you can kind of base your driving off of like, okay, am I pushing too much? Is the tire a little too hot? Can I find ways to maybe bring it down a bit? Which is its own challenge, but typically you can just send it for the 45 minutes. That's what everyone's doing. Awesome. And then you just deal with where it's at the end of the race if you have to. And that's just the answer in sprint racing. So that was, just learning to be like, hey, don't worry about the tire as much.
Everyone's over driving for 40 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Especially the first 5 laps. Like you just got to just do everything you can to stay with them and
hold position or get one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So with your driving, you do also support, some organizations. Just talk through sort of how you decided to, embrace some of the, not-for-profits, philanthropic things, and just sort of what that means to you as far as being a representative.
Yeah. So really the big one I've been supporting for a long time. 2 really probably. There's Wear Blue, Run to Remember, and then Operation Motorsport are the kind of the 2 that I've had the most connection with for a while. Wear Blue has a special place in my heart because it really supports our military families and the ones that have lost their loved ones overseas in combat or to disease or training. Accidents, which, we just lost a Black Hawk up in Washington, I think last week. There's 4 new families that have lost a loved one. Right. So that matters a lot to me. We got a lot of guys in my community that we've lost. So actually, and so that, I'm wearing Matt's band on my wrist. I wear it everywhere, but he's one of the guys that I knew pretty well. And we lost him in Afghanistan. So I always had that connection to something like that. And,
of course. And
when I was in Washington, I ran it. They sent out a request like, hey, we've got these young kids that have lost their family members overseas in combat, and we're looking for mentors. And so I volunteered to mentor, and I actually got partnered up with Lisa Hallett, who started the foundation. I was one of the founders, and her son, Bryce. And so, did that for a few years before we got moved. And they're just great human beings, and they've really shown what like resilience means. Like I think I'm a resilient person and have done a lot of hard things, but like what they've had to go through and struggle with. And Lisa lost her husband when she had a 2-month-old baby that he had never even met, her daughter Heidi. And so you just kind of hear those stories and you're like, oh man,
right.
I have to be involved in this. So I've tried to use racing as a platform, hopefully, because I'm fortunate to get to do this, and bring kind of awareness to what they do, and hopefully garner more support for them. And we ran Wear Blue on the car last year, the whole season. It was pretty cool because first championship I've ever won, and get to do it in a suit that's for them, and that was a special thing. So I continue to support them as much as I can, and hopefully we're going to keep doing more together. We haven't quite defined what that looks like, but that's the effort here for 26. And then Operation Motorsport is just another organization that kind of attacks more the veteran side of the thing, right? So there's a lot of stuff with military service that happens afterwards. And for the folks that leave, and they're like, a lot of them are lost. They're like, what do I do? I have this team and community that I've been a part of. How do I find something like that? And, it's focus on, help with my mental health. And Operation Motorsport does a great job with that because they pair those retired veterans or medically retired or separated veterans, Canada and the US, with motorsport teams, and they bring them into this environment. Like I said, motorsport's a lot like the military. And so that marriage just makes a lot of sense. And so they get there and they're kind of back in this environment where, hey, it's a bit high speed and everyone's got a role and it's very tight knit community. And,
so they're working as team members?
Yeah. So that's what they do. They embed them with the team. So my first race ever in SRO, we had a beneficiary from there, which is cool. And so they're with a number of teams in IMSA. I think they're working in SRO. They may have an IndyCar guy still. So yeah, they're everywhere. And it's everything from like mechanics to tire techs to photographers to working in the tech office itself when they're doing tech for the car. So all sorts of stuff.
Do you know John Salata?
Yes.
You do? Okay.
Yeah.
Him and a bunch of guys came up and said hi at Laguna Seca at the IMSA race, and they were talking about the foundation, and it just seems like such a great pairing between motorsport and the military, which is cool to see.
Well, it's not an intuitive correlation until you were talking about it. Where you're like, hey, there actually are similarities that you wouldn't think of if you're just someone like me who's just a fan with no military experience, and you're from a military family.
Yeah. Both my parents met when they went through basic training, and then I was born overseas when they were stationed overseas together, and so they served for a long time. Actually, when I commissioned in the Air Force, an officer does reenlistments for enlisted members in the military. So I got to reenlist both my parents, and my dad was like, your first salute. And so that was, it's been kind of in the family for a while. So
do you think you still would have found military service without your parents being in the
that's a good
military?
question. Yeah, I mean, I kind of made the decision because when September 11th happened, I was in high school, and I kind of made the decision at that moment, like I want to serve and defend my country. So it all kind of stemmed from that experience right there. Okay. And then I just was like, yeah, that was kind of, I was always interested in it. And then that kind of cemented, like, I want to go do this thing. So,
yeah. And like, I mean, really anything, the exposure to it is so important.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously military, but motorsports and anything else. I mean, that's one of the biggest things in motorsports that every single person talks about that sits there is getting people the exposure to motorsports, letting them realize that there's a low barrier to entry, let them realize that they can go do autocross and track days, that like the World Racing League, this happening this weekend, it's free, right? You can just go around, the accessibility to all the paddocks. I'm sure you go around and talk to just about anyone and they'll talk back, Yeah. Like it's the exposure is, I think, one of the most important driving factors in the popularity of motorsports.
Yeah, I agree. And sports cars, I think it's been cool to see Max bring a lot of awareness to the sports car endurance racing thing, and him winning NLS
he just won
this weekend
today at the
bring a sim racer from his sim team up, and they go win NLS together. I mean, that's a lot of momentum for that stuff, and the access that you get, like your ability to probably see Max Verstappen in a sports car paddock 1,000% easier than if you went to an F1 race. It's not going to cost you anything comparatively. Yeah. And so that's how IMSA is. Like, we'll let people come get in the car in between race events or practices if we're not doing setup and stuff. And like, you're not going to get an F1 car. This is not going to happen. So
does that impact your pre-race routine? Having fans around, having that level of accessibility?
Yeah. I mean, I'll shut myself off. I try to be as accessible as I can, right?
Until a point.
Then I'm like, hey, I got to focus. But yeah, I have this little saying for myself. I think I've seen it on someone's thing, but you just kind of like have to remember, when I'm tired, I'm frustrated because I had a bad race or whatever. I'm like, well, there's some kid in this paddock that's looking at me and be like, I want to do that one day. And I want to be where he is. So kind of taking that step back and saying, okay, you're very blessed to get to do this. And you're a bit on parade here. And, these folks are here to see you and support what you do. And so, give them the time of day. And yeah, it's important.
And it's interesting because I think a lot of, people that find a passion, they can point to a single moment.
Yeah.
I got to meet this driver, right? Yeah. Even if it wasn't, in Ayrton Senna or something like that, like that first inspiration happens at these racetracks every weekend.
Yeah.
Which is very, very cool.
And you won't even I think that's the thing I love about it is you don't even know, right? I may never know that there's some kid that, I like to think I impacted him and he goes and becomes a world champion or something, or she does. And, and you at some point had a part of that journey. And so just remembering that and taking the Spider-Man quote, with great power comes great responsibility, like just saying, hey, this is a privilege. I get to do this. And someone wants to be here, and, your day ends at some point.
And we all want to be competitive. We all get like tied up in the I don't know, just the whole experience, and like the data, and there's something wrong with the car, and there's, and it's hot outside, and whatever the excuses are. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing I have to keep telling myself too, is like, just take a step back and realize you're in a race car at a racetrack. Like how bad can it be?
Yeah. What's your pre-race process? Is it the same sprint race, endurance race? What's sort of the 20 minutes before, day before, 5 minutes before?
I have a very.
He runs 26 miles and then he gets into the car.
I do like to run throughout race weekends, at least a little bit. Try not to exhaust myself too much, but really before a race, a lot of this comes from when I was competing in bobsled. I've kind of kept the same like visualization and type of techniques that I use there. So. I'm very deliberate. Like, hey, I'll sit down. There's a very specific playlist I like to listen to, music, like almost always the same songs.
What genre?
It's usually rap and hip hop, honestly.
Attaboy.
Yeah. And so, and there's and the same list I use it's kind of funny because I use it for different reasons now. Like when I was bobsledding, I'd use these things to get like really amped up because I'm going to push as hard as I can and just like try to be as explosive as possible. And now I use it to get my like my competitive side up, but I'm also trying to be like, okay, I don't need to be like raging out when I get in the car. I need to be calm and smooth. So it's kind of weird. But I go through and I run, 2 or 3, 4 laps in my mind and just run the whole lap and kind of think through scenarios at the beginning of the race. Like, hey, if this happens, what are you going to do here?
And you're doing this sitting by yourself in a trailer on a jog.
Sometimes people will film me and make fun of me later, but I'm sitting there like closing my eyes and just running, mind running through the lap. And, where every shift is going to be, where every braking marker is, you can visualize that. And I think once it becomes so ingrained that you know how to run the lap without sitting in the car and you can just do it, then all the other things that happen in the race when there's like traffic and it's raining and it's all this stuff. And then that stuff's automatic. Right. And so that's kind of why I try to get myself is like, I don't have to think about how to drive a race lap fast. I just have to worry about now the racing side of it, which is for anyone that races, like it's a whole different thing than just driving fast.
Well, really not only that, but with athletics, I think at least for me, my approach has always been you stress about stuff, about the minutia, about the technique in practice.
Yeah.
When it's time to do the thing, just be athletic, right? Like the less you can think about it, the better. And that's, for me, at least the point of the practice, is developing those habits. And if you practiced well and you have good habits, then on game day, whether it's a race or a, boxing match or, rugby, it doesn't matter what it is. You can kind of shut it off and just be like, all right, I just need to be athletic in this moment and just sort of like let the training take over. It's such an important skill.
100%. Yeah. And like the self-talk thing is, having kids, this is the thing that I've really focused on for them. And now it's kind of made me be like, oh, I needed to be better about this with myself. But like so I'll do all that. Then right before we roll off of grid, right, I'll always like take a moment and be like, all right, you worked hard to be here. You've got this. You've done the prep. Now let's go do the thing. And so then everything's out of your mind, right? And like everything is in front of you. That's racing and a lot of people have talked about this is I think it's very freeing for like all the stress of life. Like there is nothing else you care about in the world except that exact moment in time. And so there is no past or present or future. It's just the present. And so it's just kind of like very Zen experience it's very high speed and there's some stress of racing, but I get out of race weekends more recharged, even though I'm physically exhausted. So I'm sure you feel the same way.
It's absolutely, I think something that's common in sports is exactly what you described. It's a mindfulness practice. Yeah. When you're doing the thing that you're good at, that you're passionate about, you're in the moment. It's absolutely a meditative practice, even though it's loud, there's a bunch of stuff going on, it's stressful, but people that find that thing that they're passionate about, that they're good at, it's a comforting place to be.
Yeah, I agree.
How much longer do you have active service?
Yeah, this is weird to say because I'm like, I can't be this close to the end. So I'm eligible to retire from active duty in 29. So
oh wow,
yeah, it's right around the corner.
It's coming up.
Yeah, shockingly. So
are you going to re-up or keep going?
No. Well, I say that I don't want to. Never say never type of thing, right?
Sure.
My intent is to kind of get out and focus on racing. Wholeheartedly, and that could be hopefully in the driver's seat. Or if it's in a coaching role or even, running a team, I'd probably find that kind of interesting. I think, everything about racing is just interesting to me. But yeah, obviously prefer to be driving, but if that doesn't pan out or I'm doing a combination of things, I'd be happy with that.
So in 29, how many years will that make it?
That's 20 years.
20 years?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, my brother's in the Army. He's a Black Hawk pilot.
Oh, cool. Where at?
And he's stationed in Savannah.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. And I don't even know how many years he's been in. A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he talks about like, obviously, thousands of hours in a helicopter can probably go fly wherever when he gets out. And I don't think he wants to fly at all. When he gets out, I think he's just done.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he got it out of his system, but.
Yeah, I could see. I mean, I see a lot of folks get out and then want to come back and do like a government civilian job and I'm kind of like, hey, I've done this thing for a good period of time.
Yeah.
Like I want to go do something new and try new experiences and maybe try my hand at some business stuff. And, there's all sorts of things. Obviously, if I want to keep racing, so that kind of helps too. So just, it's just like, hey, there's more things to do in life. And while I valued it and it's been a big part of my life and it means a lot to me, doesn't define every aspect of who I am. And so I think that's important for me to go do something else. And
are you getting that, what do you call it? Like trunkiness feeling where it's like you can sense the end is coming and you're excited for it, or are you feeling like you're dreading it?
No, I'm 100% looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And not because I'm like ready to be done necessarily. It's just like, hey, there's motorsport specifically has really opened my eyes to a lot of other things that are out there. And so it's just interesting to do that. And then, even buy back some time to be with the family. And, the kids are in this phase where you get to you be active with them and really while they're growing into stuff. Cause like my daughter wants to go to the Olympics as a gymnast. And so I'm like, well, hey,
nice.
I can kind of help you with that journey to a point. Right. And help you understand what that's going to feel like. And I really want to do that because like I didn't have anyone to reference off of, and I didn't have that type of. So I was like, hey, it's a pretty big gift to be able to give. Hopefully, at least, and again, it's not so much about the end goal. That's something I think we all get caught up on sometimes. It's like really, it's like who you become through doing this, and so that's why I want to help her do it. It's like, hey, push yourself if you want to go there, and you're having fun the whole time, and you're willing to sacrifice everything that it takes to do something like that. Then yeah, I'd love to help you. But we can't be obsessed about what this end goal is because the odds they're not in your favor, right? And so you just got to accept like, hey, this is hard and you may come short. I fell short. I didn't make the team. So that's just how it is. And if you can accept that and say, I gave it an honest effort, then
that's the important
it just wasn't
part.
meant to be, right?
Yeah.
So,
any of your kids showing interest in racing?
My youngest is like natural. Like,
okay,
I put her in the sim and she'll just drive the racetrack.
How old?
She's turning 8 now.
Okay.
But yeah,
Karting?
Yeah, I was gonna ask. Karting yet?
That's the challenge. It's like we don't have karting where I live, and so I got to figure out what I'm going to do here. So I'm just like, hey, the sim is an option.
For sure.
And she's in gymnastics and everything else, but she just kind of has that. I just can tell she would do well at this.
She's a killer.
Yeah, she's aggressive, and she gets.
Do you know how far away the closest karting is? Would you have to go down to?
So
we got
area? We've got a lot of
There's a ton of motorsports in that region.
Yeah, we got like dirt oval stuff. So I was like, I guess I could get her slinging mud, and hey, it's something, right?
Yeah.
So I haven't looked into it yet, but I might.
You've done oval racing, right?
I did one like open wheel modified race on a short track. On asphalt.
Okay.
Yeah. Man, a whole new perspective for what those guys do. It is much different. It was way more different than I expected it to be.
How so?
You just you really got to trust the grip of the car, like more than I'm used to, I guess, because you just don't use the brakes, right? Like you just don't do them. And the brake pedal was horrendous in that car. So I actually spun it on one of the laps because I tried to use like just a little bit of brake and it immediately just went around. And I was
like, a light switch? Like it just grabbed?
Yeah, it's just like no feel to it because the driver who owns the car was like, I don't need that. So I don't set it up to make it feel right.
I'm surprised they don't use brakes and have the brake bias set up in one direction to help it turn. Like
it's just the setup in the car. So you have it very angled. So like you don't have to be.
Oh, just because of all the stagger that they put in.
Yeah, exactly.
Is there rear steering?
No, it's just front steering, but it's you steer with. I mean, that was the other thing is you've got to steer off the corner with like on a power slide pretty much. And the option is like, where do you slide into? It's a wall. So like that was finding the limit and being like going over the limit is very consequential. And so that was challenging.
Yeah.
It was cool though. I mean,
physically,
I enjoyed it.
Pretty manageable.
Yeah, I didn't think it was anything crazy. I mean, it wasn't that long of a, they're kind of sprint style oval races at like the local.
Few heats.
Yeah, but I got like a 1-day NASCAR license. I was like, hey, cool.
That's cool.
There we go. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was a good experience. I mean, I always thought running like a NASCAR or a car like that or like a supercar would be incredible, but something of that style on road courses, I would think I would enjoy that a lot. But
I mean, if that's what's close to you, we had Jordan Wallace in here recently, and he had done some rally driving and stuff like that, and what he was talking about was that the highest correlation was racing in the wet, like his ability to find forward momentum.
Yeah.
So if dirt racing is all that's there to teach,
that's a good point.
Yeah. And also I think, particularly at a young age, exposing them to a bunch of stuff, even if it's within the world of racing, like they're all going to find a way. They're going to find a way to pull all the little things together, to make them better at whatever they end up doing long term,
Yeah, I agree. I mean, and you can see like talent is talent. So if you can drive, I think each little discipline requires some specificity in terms of learning the uniqueness of it. But if you generally have like that feeling in the car, because that's really the big thing you're trying to develop is how a car is supposed to feel and what is right and that sensation,
weight transfer,
just like
all those things.
that raw ability. I mean, the things that like, you know, when you talk about the types of drivers that are out there, everyone talks driving style. I don't know. It's a weird way to put it, but I think of it as just like how in tune with the machine is the driver, right? And so some drivers are very programmatic in some ways, right? And this is bobsled actually was a lot like this too, where you drive it on like I brake at this point, I steer at this point. This is how I go fast, right? And that's very data driven and they're very analytical. And then you've got the folks that are like, I just feel what the car wants and I do what the car wants, and that's how I sense driving. Yeah, I think there's something in the middle between the two, but you need both sides of it to be effective. I'd say.
We also need more women drivers.
Absolutely,
so
exactly.
You as a parent need to do your job.
I'm trying. I'm a big supporter.
When your daughter's in the sim, are you encouraging dad or are you driver coach?
I both. Like I try to help her understand. Like,
and you're like, you're doing it wrong. Get out.
She has her own sim. Like for
she?
Christmas one year, I took my old rig and I painted it pink. And then I sticker bombed like the old race seat that we had. And it's pretty cool. And she loves it. And she just runs like Gran Turismo or something on a console. I don't have her up on a true simulator. I just wanted to get like, hey, get used to pressing pedals and
so she's not looking at telemetry like brake.
No, we're not at telemetry yet.
Okay,
yeah,
got it.
I try to keep the input the feedback as basic as possible.
Okay,
but yeah, I mean, I can put her on a track and she can get around it, and it's pretty impressive. And
yeah.
So I was just like, hey, driving, just having you drive and understand something, and then if you really want to pursue this, we can get technical in the future. But
and we also see it here all the time in karting. You know, I do karting, come from karting, and like the level of maturity that you see out of younger kids that are committed to karting is phenomenal, because you can't do it at a high level without having a technical understanding, without having a certain level of discipline. Like it just instills, not that it sounds like, you know, coming from a military family that, you know, I'm sure she'll develop those things in other ways, but racing does it, man. It really does.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like any sport, right? You gotta be willing to put in the work, and if you want to take it super seriously, like if it's a hobby, that's great too. I'm not knocking it. You don't have to do everything to be the best at whatever it is, but if that's what you desire, like there's a lot that comes with that pursuit. So
what do you attribute finding? I mean, you've got great pace, you know, as a driver. How do you attribute finding pace so quickly when you started really late, you know, compared to these karting kids coming up? And I mean, is it sim time? Is it just, I mean, obviously like raw, just gift talent is going to take you so far. Yeah. But like to really be competing for podiums and IMSA, like what do you attribute that to? Yeah.
I've thought about this. Like, how do I articulate that? I was like, nah, I just got it. No. I think it's a combination of things. Like some of it is like some of it just feels natural and I have a good sense in the car. The sim has filled a lot of gaps for me, right? So it helps me at least get 75, 80% of the way there of like, hey, what I should expect when I get there. And then I guess I'm just willing to trust that data is good and willing to go out there and say, hey, I'm willing to try, like, and push it and push the limits and feel where that is at. And so I think that has allowed me to get up to speed faster is being willing to go a little bit quicker into something. I don't want to say recklessly because that sounds wrong, but like just being able to take some risk and knowing that I can trust that the car is going to do what it's supposed to do and the tire is going to do what it's supposed to do. It doesn't always. Like I've had, you're going to have crashes, but
yeah, sure.
But yeah, like I think we were chatting about this before. Like when you have, kind of having a crash is a good thing. Like you got to get that out of your system and experience it and be like, oh, okay, the world's not going to end. Hopefully. I mean, I guess it could be bad, but you know, most of the time you're going to walk away from it and there's a learning point and like, okay, now I know where the limit is. And that's helpful.
Yeah. You see a lot of drivers like coming up and it's like they're afraid to have the car let go. So they do everything they can do to like keep it within the safe zone. Yeah. And something that we've started doing is, for drivers that you can kind of sense that where they just like, they don't want to get loose. They want to kind of keep everything, you know, tidy, is to take them out to the skid pad and just get the car loose, like get sideways, you're not going to hit anything. You're not going to hurt the car. Like
that's a good
just
point.
feel what it's like to have a let go in a place where you're not, on the track with walls around. And
I like that.
It seems to help. But also as a driver, I feel like, for me, as I was learning and coming up, it was the more the car gets loose and you start like finding that limit and letting go and you catching it and like pairing that with sim time where you kind of learn that muscle memory of this is what I do when the car lets go, or with, with my pedals or the wheel. And I think it's just made such a huge difference in being able to find pace. So it sounds like, what you're saying is, your ability to just let the car get a little past, comfortable and being okay with that is like a really fast way to learn the car.
Yeah. I try to mentally trick myself. And this is what I told when I was racing bikes. And I was like, okay, everyone talks about, I would say I admire when you hear people talk about drivers that are really good in the rain, right? That's like, hey, that's like, to me, that's the gold standard. If you can figure out how to be fast there, you've demonstrated that you understand fundamentally what the car needs and how it operates and like how to drive it in a very uncomfortable situation where it is going to be super loose. And so I made it a point to be like, hey, every time it rains, I go out. Like, it doesn't matter if it's not ideal. We maybe not have much to gain, but I have something to gain in the fact that I need to always be comfortable, being uncomfortable, as cliche as that sounds, and being used to like, hey, what does a car feel like when you don't have all the grip in the world? And once you get used to that, it's not as intimidating as you think. And then when you're like here, I guess, what's the corner before Scream, that whole section in the Miata is just a slide through there. And you're going 90 miles an hour. It's not crazy speed, but it's not inconsequential speed. And you get to the point where like, hey, I'm comfortable with the car is like slipping and I know it's going to stick. And I've done this enough where the sim has shown me that that's possible. And I can feel that in the car. And I think that's where you start to really understand and get the speed, is because you're willing to get to that point. Yeah. And Miata that's the reason it's a great car to do that in, is because likely it won't be that big of a crash, or if you'll spin, it's not going to be a big deal. But and it gives you that feedback because it is so raw and such a short wheelbase, and it does slip quite a bit, and it lets you get away with a lot of things. So,
yeah, that's super cool. I had a similar experience. It would have been 3 years ago at a 6-hour race in the dark, and I was doing the night stint, and it was in a GT3 Cup Porsche, and I was coming into turn one here, and turn one's maybe 100 and the Cup car is maybe 155, somewhere around there, and you're braking somewhere between probably around the 2 board, generally. Yeah. So a couple of years ago in this race in the dark, one, you can't see anything because there's no lights here at the track, so there's no everything is just pitch black other than what's on the car. Coming up to turn one, there was a line of kind of a mix of GT4s, Miatas. It's a big mixed class. And I had no idea. I couldn't see any of the brake markers, and I can't see the corner. So it's just, straight with headlights. And I'm like, okay, the turn-in's it's coming soon. I can feel it. And then out of the corner of my eye, I see the one board go by. And I'm, full throttle. And so I'm on wheel straight, full pressure on the brake, well past the one board, which I had never so I had in essence learned to go well past the limit on accident. Didn't mean to do it, but it was eye-opening for me because I braked way too late, blew the corner, and I was okay. Yeah. Right. So it was like, and there was all the runoff, and maybe a different track, it would have been a different story, but it was definitely an eye-opening moment for me where it was like, okay, like, wasn't planning on doing that. Probably wouldn't do it again if I was choosing. But now I know that like wheel straight, full brake, well past the one board, we're still going to be okay. Yeah. And then, now you can kind of, for me, I could then start pushing the brakes later and later, and kind of getting away from that comfort zone. So
yeah, that's a great point. I think, once you really, what you're talking about is just kind of understanding, hey, like if you do the right things in the worst moments, you have good outcomes potentially, or you have your best opportunity for a good outcome. Yeah. And so having that, oh my gosh, everything is not going the way I want. Don't freak out. Just do what you're supposed to do, and the car will do what it's supposed to do. And so once you kind of learn that, what you're talking about there, I think that's great. I had the same. I had a big spin in turn 4 at IMSA round up at Canada, which is
CTMP.
Yeah, very fast corner.
What's 4? Is that the big?
That's like the
carousel?
swooper down before you hit into moss. You
Okay.
know? Yeah. So
Yeah.
flat out 4th gear.
High consequence corner.
Yeah, lost.
I mean,
like,
the whole track
complete
is high
rotation.
consequence.
So, and you can watch the onboard. I think it's on here. It's my Jet Holiday. That
Oh yeah.
I use that
yeah.
audio for it. But I was surprised at myself even because I was pretty calm in the car. Like you just see me kind of look in the mirror, be like, okay, I'm spinning. All right, brake. Okay, we're about to turn back in the gas. And I kept it out of the wall somehow. Even the people there were like, I don't know how you pulled that one off.
Full 360.
Yeah, full 360.
Awesome.
Like fast.
And that's a
fast.
fast corner.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, but it just goes to like, hey, you just stay calm in the moment, do the things that you've been working on. The sim helps you kind of replicate that without just putting a bunch of cars on the wall. Cause you can go practice that one a bunch of times. Yeah. So, I mean, that helps a lot. And the rain has been kind of the conduit in the real life where everything slows down a little bit because you have to go slower. You can't do everything quite at the same speed. And that has given me being willing to say, I'm going to embrace this as a thing that I want to be really good at, even though it's uncomfortable to be good at it.
Mm-hmm.
And then once I can get there, then I'm like, okay, that's a thing I'm going to use as like, it's a defining factor of who I am as a driver. Like I'm good in the rain. I'm competitive when it's raining. And
it's not like a mystery and an unknown.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to it.
something-
I'm like, oh, cool, it's raining. Like,
Yeah.
like we in Mid-Ohio, I got on the podium there, and that was the most competitive I've been against the supers all year. And I was like, it's raining finally. And so I'm like, this is what I needed. And so you can really battle. And I mean, I think we started the race and I'm going around the outside of GT3s at the first, in the first corners. And so you're like, okay,
They're all checking out.
That karting line.
you got that,
Around the
you got
outside.
that confidence. And so, yeah.
Well, it probably helps you with offline stuff too, right? Like
Yeah, for sure.
overtakes, being in the gravel, the marbles, like
Yeah,
just-
I mean, and that's you got to explore all that stuff because you realize like once you get out there, you're like, yeah, there are dangers. Like the marbles are not always a good thing,
Mhm.
but it's not as like crazy as you might expect. And then as long as you can just not overreact to the fact that you're not where you want to be, and be smooth with your inputs and do the right things, like the car typically will do what it needs to. Not
Mhm.
always, but
yeah.
for the most part, yeah. I mean, like,
Yeah, sometimes you're along for the ride, but
Yeah.
most of the time you can salvage something.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even at high consequence tracks, like have you driven Long Beach?
Oh man, I want to.
That's on the bucket list.
so bad.
Yeah.
I adore that track.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, on the sim, it's like my
It's-
favorite
yeah.
track.
It's so much fun. I love the road courses in general. I've never gotten to race one, but the only thing I have that can compare is Coda this year. We were there with NASCAR. And so versus doing the whole back straightaway loop, there was a cut through. And so that cut through was like a street course. It was just a concrete wall and then a giant barrier on entry. So you couldn't even see the wall. You just had to kind of send it right up against the barrier. And then you're right up against the wall on the exit. And then you're aiming at the wall on the other exit. And it kind of cuts in the middle of the,
Is it
back
after
straight?
the S's?
yeah, right in the middle of that. So
Yeah.
right before you kind of get to 8, 9.
Right.
Yeah. So you cut left there. And it's cool because it was just like, it felt like, I was like, oh, this must be what a road course feels like. It's just like you're up against the walls on either side. And that's what and I was like, this is fun.
Scraping mirrors.
Yeah, exactly. That was my goal. I was like, how close can I get? I was just like, how close can I get to the wall without breaking anything too bad? Yeah.
Yeah, it looks fun. I mean, as long as you stay out of the wall, it looks fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it looks fun until it doesn't in a
Yeah.
hurry.
Yeah.
So of
Yeah.
all the stuff that you've done, and I mean, between the off-road racing, the motorcycles, the bobsledding, do you have any singular moments that are just like that you hold close to you as far as impactful?
Probably his first
Experiences.
IMSA podium in a livery suit. I think
Yeah.
that was
Bringing livery to the podium was a great moment. Yeah, that was fun. I mean, just hitting an IMSA podium. I mean, really, that was a big race for us because I've come to IMSA, I've had a great season the year before,
Mhm.
and you're like, okay, what happened? Like, where's the pace going? Like, why are we struggling so much? And we had the race before that. I was running in the podium position, and a Ferrari GT3 punt me on the wall in the stadium section, and so that race was in the morning, and we raced that afternoon. That's how that weekend worked out with the NASCAR schedule. And so the guys had to put the car together, and then to go back out that afternoon and kind of bring it back. Like, okay, we're back where I think we should be, and end up on the podium was like, okay, that was just like very like the weight's off your shoulders a bit. That, and then I think winning my first professional race when I did that at the beginning of the 2024 season, and like in the battle, like I was battling with Lucas, we were like 4/10 apart that whole race, and then kind of making a decisive move when you did. And I did that to him twice in a row.
And you can play it out in your head.
Yeah. And like, just like that was like, oh, okay. Like,
I bet Lucas plays it out in his head a million times too.
Well, I feel so bad because, he had all those seconds the year before as well. And then they were like talking about it on the broadcast, and they're like, oh man, Lucas is going to have a year this year. And, and I'm not, like, Lucas is awesome, but yeah. And so then they were like, then you beat him 2 in a row, actually 6 in a row. No, I'm not trying not to talk shit or anything, but so it was just that moment though of like, hey, I've worked really hard to finally have a full season because I've never had that, and we're here racing, and they're like, man, I'm here. I believe I have the speed to be here, and I believe I have the speed to be in the front. And then to kind of pull it off and be like, oh man, I did it once, and do it 2 in a row. You're like, okay, this is real. I absolutely belong here, and I can win, and the shot at this championship is 100% viable. And then then we went, like I said, 6 in a row that season, and that was just like it was like you pinched me. Like where did this come from? And so that was
so cool. That was a fun season to watch too.
Yeah, that was,
and we talked to Lucas about, because speaking of driver excuses, his dad's car, like in the data, is faster.
Yeah.
In terms of like pulling speed and so trap speed down the straights, like Joe's car was always the better car, but Lucas is, the quicker driver. So, and Joe pays the bill, so he gets the better car. Right.
Course,
so,
but
sense. Lucas is always just like, if I had my dad's car, then maybe, the year before you and the year you were racing, like maybe it'd be different, but who knows?
Yeah. I mean, the thing that was interesting that year is because you finally had a new dynamic with the Acura in the mix.
Well, and that BOP was pretty horrendous for a bit there.
Horrendous meaning they had an unfair advantage is what we're saying, right?
Yeah.
They
were crushing
seconds
me.
a lap.
Yeah, they were crushing me by the end of the season. Because like I said, 6 in a row, we had grids, like pretty decent sized grids at the beginning of the year. Yeah. And we got to VIR, and suddenly there's 4 cars showing up for TCX. I mean, more than that in the whole class, but that was for a number of reasons. It really had little to do, I think, with.
Wait, was the Acura, did it move from TCX?
No, that was a TCX car, but it was his first year. And so that just showed up that season as a TCX car. And it's got teething pains like any new platform would.
Yeah.
But on one lap pace, it was very quick. I mean,
were they the only front wheel drive platform?
And I think really, I was like, what can you do? It's the inferior of wheel drives.
Wrong wheel drive, I think.
Wrong wheel drive, yeah. Anti-driving, as Max would say.
Yeah.
And so that the tire wear was the biggest issue, I think, between the platforms. And so for them to combat that for us, by the time we reached Indy at the end of the season, because I didn't win many races after VIR, they power sticked me at Road America, and they actually took me down so much horsepower that I was barely faster than the class below. Somehow I still finished second and made somewhat of a race out of it, but I just had no horsepower at all. And so to the point that the series was like, we messed up and we'll fix it for the next race. And then by the end of the year, I had like an additional 70 kilos in the car or something like that they were adding to the M2, which is already a heavy car. And so, I mean, you watch the Indy race, which was it was a fun race, and Celso is a great driver, and he's up in IMSA now doing good things. But, I was I was hanging on for dear life everywhere with the car. It was so hard to drive from where it was earlier in the season, but
does it actually impact the handling as well as
tire wear, the handling? I mean, everything was different. The only thing we had advantage on at that point was like we were better on the brakes. That's about my saving grace.
And did they have major fall off with the front wheel drive, or was it not too bad?
Yeah, that was it. But so it was interesting. They had BOP early on because I think when they tested the cars preseason, and some of this is speculation on my end, but also rumors that I was told that the cars were rapid, and they're like, oh, okay, it's gonna be way too fast. We need to tone it down. And then the real races came around, and it didn't quite pan out, I think, as the series anticipated. And so they started like really kind of bringing that car up before they started messing with the M2. And I mean, at that point, it had full power and no weight in the car. And so, but my argument with it was always, well, hey, because I won Sebring by like 30 seconds, I think, on the next car. And I was like, it's not just Acuras that I'm beating though. And so I was like, there's some of it could be the car. Yeah. The M2 is probably a better platform ultimately, being a rear wheel drive. But some of it might be more than that. So that was kind of a frustrating experience, and, kind of a good lesson to learn, I suppose. And I even got told by the team at one point, hey, you maybe should consider backing off. And I was like, that's un-American. I will not drive slower than I can. Which, ultimately maybe was a bad choice, but nonetheless, I mean, it was a good year and I had some good battles, and we won.
Yeah.
So
do you have a favorite track? Do you have a track where you're like, I know I'm going to show up and I'm going to do the thing?
VIR. Yeah.
Okay.
That's my spot.
Okay. Not Sebring?
I love it there. I love Sebring too. I mean, really, that's hard. Every track I've gone to, I'm like, VIR has always been my favorite. And I go to a new track like Road America, especially since they repaved it, is, a brilliant place to be.
Is it your favorite because you enjoy it or because you know you will be fast?
I like VIR because it requires like fortitude to go fast there, right? Like up the S's, turn 10, like you really have to be very precise,
dedicated.
And, like you gotta be willing to send it. And it creates good racing, and it's a tough lap.
And it was your first race, you said, right?
My first pro race, yeah.
Yeah. How was it coming up and over the roller coaster for the first time?
Yeah, it's an experience.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like, you got like, it's weird now because back then they have that barrier that they put in between, right? So at the end of the straightaway, so cars don't just shoot through it and guys going down the roller coaster, a car doesn't T-bone you, because I think that happened. They put a wall there, right?
Oh, okay.
And so like if you mess up the brake zone now, like you're going straight onto a tire wall. That wasn't there when I raced originally. So it's a little different because it's kind of blind. Yeah, you would just shoot off to the other side. So I just love it. It's a great area. I mean, Canada was cool because of the crowd. I mean, all the tracks have their like unique thing that makes them special, right? Like I think we did the track walk in Canada, and there were people playing. They let the fans on during that, and so after the initial laps when all the teams are doing their thing, it extends for a bit longer, and the fans are on the track. And so there's I was doing a second lap, and there's like guys playing Scrabble on the the middle straightaway and stuff like that. I was like, oh, this is pretty cool.
That's cool.
Indy's got its own thing. Yeah. Coda's cool because of what it is.
Is there a track you don't like, or you're just like, oh, do we have
Motorsports Park?
NOLA?
Oh yeah,
I've heard that. Yeah,
it's just boring.
Is it?
Yeah, it's flat. I mean, I don't. Yeah, I would. SRO went there one year, and I was like, I'm good. No, I don't want to come back here.
Yeah. I heard a lot of drivers complaining about NOLA. For sure.
It floods. If it rains, it just floods. You can't even race. And so you're like, well, that happened the year I was there. Like we couldn't get our second race in. Other than that, most of the other places, like they have something to offer. Indy's not the greatest like road course in the world, but it's such a cool venue.
Have you driven Daytona?
Yeah.
Did you like it?
I think it's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like it on the sim.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's better in real life, but
it's a draft battle. That's one of the things, right?
Right. Out of 6. And
you got to run the draft. And if you lose it, it matters a lot.
Well, and for me, like the whole infield is just a cluster.
The thing is, in real life, it's more technical than I expected it to be. Like it was actually a little harder to go faster than I anticipated it would be.
Yeah.
And like I got to run it. It rained our second race this year, so I got to do both. So like full spray 160 on the banking. I was like, wow, this is pretty wild.
Yeah.
But yeah, the drafting is insane. Like it was insane. Like the whole car is like the panels feel like they're
like
going to vibrate off. Yeah.
Oh,
it's pretty nuts.
In the GT4?
Yeah. So that was the BMW. That's how I started the season. And yeah, the hood was like, I could see it fluttering and the door gaps were opening up because the doors are so light and you're just getting so much air off the car in front of you. So
I think the best racing at Daytona is the MX-5 Cup.
Oh, for sure.
Just the draft.
I mean copy and paste any racetrack, and the best racing is the MX-5.
Yeah, but the draft is so substantial.
So substantial. Or watching Spec Miata with NASA with like national championships at Daytona, like where they have, I don't know, 70, 80 Miatas.
Oh yeah.
And the draft. I mean, we all know
you come out of the chicane in 9th, and you might win.
You could be first, by like the next lap, and then go back to 20th, and then back.
It's wild,
so crazy. But yeah, that's what Daytona's good for is Miatas. I'll give you that.
I mean, the 24-hour. Have you ever been to gone to the race?
The Rolex.
yeah, the event is cool. Like I've gone a couple times to actually, as a fan, obviously, hopefully one day, not as a fan, but
Yeah, I'm sure that event is
it's just
spectacular.
nuts, yeah.
I kind of liken it to like Fenway Park. It's not a perfect stadium,
that's good. Yeah, I like that.
know, but it's iconic.
Yeah.
That's what makes it
Yeah.
important is the big green monster.
For
Fenway,
sure.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
that's a good
not.
analogy.
Yeah, could be better.
It's historic. It's
It's
the
but
thing.
It's the fact that
Yeah.
it's there and it's been there as sort of the.
Yeah.
Other thing you got to do is the 12-hour Sebring.
Yeah.
Such a good race to go spectate.
That would be fun.
Were you a support race for the 12-hour when you?
No, not this year.
Okay.
I a couple years ago, I was working with a GTD team. Really, just I helped them kind of get some sim stuff started and do like a fan engagement thing because I was just trying to like, I was like, what I tell everybody when you want to get into racing, you're like, hey, I don't come from money. I don't have money to do this just to go do it. So I was like, whatever you can do, get involved, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like I was working with this team to help them with sim racing and like fan engagement stuff that they were trying to do, and I just kind of knew the owner. And so I was there for that. They were running it. And so I just got to kind of, interact with the fan base and then kind of walk around and see kind of the everything else that's happening while the racetrack is happening. It's pretty crazy what they put up, all the different high rise things that they build. And it's a pretty nuts party in the outside. So
Really?
Yeah, and I can only imagine what 12 hours at Sebring will do to the car too.
oh yeah. Jeez.
Right.
Definitely some new dampers are needed at the
I was
end
gonna
of that
say,
one,
yeah.
I don't
All
understand
amazing
Sebring as far as a racetrack as to why it exists in the iteration that it does, right? Like it's almost like it's become a part of the track. The fact that the surface is so shitty, the fact that it looks like an airstrip, even though it hasn't been an airstrip for 70 years or something. You know?
Yeah.
They don't get it. Like you think at some point they would modernize,
It's like
not
they
modernize it, but make
They
it
repave every other track. They
Yeah.
add runoff in every other track. But
Right.
Sebring is like,
No, you
nah,
can't-
we're not doing
You can't
that.
do it. You
Yeah.
can't do it.
It's almost become again.
Yeah,
like
I mean, I don't
part
know
of the
what would
track
Sebring
itself.
be then if it was flat and smooth. So
Be thermal.
yeah, no offense to that part of Florida, but it's not like a hot spot for places you're going to go hang out. So
Right.
Right.
Central
that's why you
Florida.
go there. So I think,
Yeah.
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 It's part of the character.
I mean, that's the I would say some of the things I don't like about when they do modernize some tracks
Mm-hmm.
is while I get the safety aspect of it, it does take some of that away, right? So US tracks, UK tracks are very old school types of feel to them, and that's what makes them special, I would say. So you got to find the balance there.
Yeah.
Right? That's a challenge.
Have you driven Laguna since the repave or Sonoma?
I've never been. That's one track I've never been to. There
No?
in Watkins Glen, and everyone's like, "How is that possible?" And I was
But Sonoma, right? Because you did.
I've been
SRO.
Sonoma a number of
Yeah.
times. Yeah, the repave there was insane.
Yeah.
Insane. I think I passed Lucas, not to keep poking fun at him, but the second race that I beat him in race 2, the pass for the win was around the outside in turn 1 in an M2. I was like, you would never have
Nicely
done that in the
done.
past.
Yeah.
Never have done that in
With
the
all that
past.
arrow you have.
Yeah, I know.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
And we
nutty.
were setting like both of us. I mean, I think he had the fastest lap one of the races, and we set him at like the end of the race. That was never
Yeah.
a Sonoma thing before.
I was going to say, yeah, when we raced there last year, 2 years ago, the tire drag was insane, like evenly wearing across the tire. And it was beautiful at the end of the race. I mean, it was just like so much grip.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, last year, the thing too that was weird, they had just done the repave, and then they hadn't really done a lot of running on it. And so when we got there, actually the whole pavement in the chicane or the hairpin at the end of the lap was all coming up under braking.
Like
from the
turn 11?
GT3s. Yeah. So it's just like there was big chunks missing.
That's right.
So
That's
they had
right.
to pause the whole weekend. We didn't they combined our practice and quality into a thing, and they had to repave it with like highway pavement because they had to like quick fix it, right?
Yeah.
And to get the race weekend off. And actually that held really well.
They just,
yeah.
did it.
Yeah.
It was like
So there you
Detroit,
go.
They're just bringing in bags of like
Yeah.
cold patch concrete
Yeah, exactly.
or asphalt. Yeah.
like the F1, like Detroit, like 84, 85, 86, whatever. Like same thing.
Oh,
The
yeah.
concrete was just coming up in chunks,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then
That's what's happening.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if they've done anything since then. I mean, maybe they have. They probably have
Yeah,
in terms
I
of the
don't
repay, but
No, I was thinking
fix
about
it.
the track surface here
Yeah.
has got to be one of the it's only been surfaced once, right? It's never been resurfaced.
I don't know if I think it's just the original.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which seems like I mean, you guys can speak to it.
2008, 2007.
It seems like it's still in very good condition for how old it is.
Well, I think it's because the Miller family, Larry, didn't really spare any expense when they poured it. I mean, it was, they did it right. So luckily it's lasted as long as it has, but yeah.
Is it showing signs of wear out there? Or are there spots?
No, that was one thing I was impressed with. I was like, hey, this is a very smooth, like consistent surface.
Yeah.
Like there's no place that's different than any other
as
place.
long as there's Sebring
only
in the
one
world.
big bump in the straightaway.
As long as you can compare it to Sebring.
That's the
It's
standard.
great.
I mean, even Coda, like before they cut it, they shaved it down a bunch because of the motorcycles. Because it was very bumpy.
Shaved what down?
Like,
the surface or the
surface?
curve?
Yeah. Because remember, they had a lot of issues. MotoGP at one point said, "Hey, we're not coming back here because
where, like going into
I think coming down out of one was an issue because they're leaned over to that corner, and so it was bumpy through there. We don't necessarily notice it as much on the
wait
car
coming
side.
down into one
Out of one. Sorry, so
out of one. Okay, got it.
That the right hander.
Okay.
And then the back straight is surprisingly bumpy, like or wavy in the surface. So there's just a lot more detail in the surface than I realized when I raced there my first time. And then since then they've done a bunch of repave things and work to it. I think that's just the nature of that portion of Texas, because if you drive all the back roads, none of them are flat anymore. They're all yeah.
Do you
I think that's what happened. So
do you think if you had the opportunity now to run a motorcycle like a sort of cider laps out here, would you see different things?
I'd be terrified of the brakes, I'm sure, because I've gotten so used to car brakes. That's the big difference, is the braking is very different.
Yeah. But as far as
I mean, like anything, I mean, I have so much more time now in racing that I probably would see it differently. The way you attack a lap's a little different too, and I don't know. I've had zero desire to get back on a bike.
Really?
I mean, I think I'd be interested to do some like touring stuff, just to cruise around and do some fun rides. But like getting on the track on a motorcycle is
that a physical preservation thing, or just happy where you are?
I'm just happy with cars right now, and I actually don't even look at bikes because I'm worried I will actually reactivate my desire. But no, I've enjoyed the car stuff so much, and I'm just better at it too. So I wasn't the greatest motorcycle racer. As much as I loved it, it just, I'm not the smallest human in the world. And so that definitely.
What body type favors fast? Like, I don't know, our MotoGP riders
small
all
and light. Yeah, it's jockey stuff. So
got it.
Yeah.
So this is your first time here at the track?
It is, yeah.
What do you think?
I'm like, the facilities are incredible.
Yeah.
I'm actually really impressed. When SRO was looking to expand they're trying to go to new tracks and do new things. And NOLA was one of those places that they tried it. And I was like,
we'd love for SRO to come here.
Yeah, this would be a place I think they could do well with it. Because you've got a major population center right here with Salt Lake. Easy for teams to get to.
Yeah, big paddock space.
I mean,
a lot of team garages.
I like this area of the country as well. I mean, I came out here a lot for bobsled. And like the garage spaces are really nice. I mean, they're better, I'd say, than Indy's garages where you end up in when you're there for SRO. So it's just like everything you would need to have a good weekend, you could do it here. And then there's other things to do. You got the karting and fans would come out. And it seems that I didn't even realize, because I was driving around because we had to get our oil pan after we had the engine blow up. We had to get it welded. So we drove around the whole motorsport campus, and I was like, oh man, you could layer in a lot of things in that weekend, right? You could probably layer in some motocross stuff and
some dirt track stuff.
There's the off-road racing, the off-road track out in the back. I don't know if you've seen it.
I didn't see that.
I don't even know what the term is for. Like,
is it rallycross or something?
No.
No, the rallycross track is in the infield.
Yeah. Did you see the big jump in the?
Yeah, I saw that. I told the guys, like, if the car doesn't work, I'm just gonna
just send it on
that thing, and that's it. We're gonna slide off into oblivion.
Yeah. You might need another car behind you pushing.
Yeah, I know. Right. Like, I don't know if I'm gonna get enough acceleration. I was like, that's a huge gap.
Man, when you would see the rallycross on television, you're like, that's very impressive. But then walking out there and standing at the base of that jump and being like, holy cow, it gives you a whole different perspective on what those guys do.
Now there's the dirt track out here. They do like ATV racing.
Oh, cool.
I don't know what is that. I don't know what you call that.
Just dirt track.
Dirt, short,
dusty, make a mess track.
Okay.
Jump.
They race motocross out here. It looked like there was a motocross track.
There's
or is that the same thing?
They do. They did on the kart track, right?
Yeah, it's
hypermotard or stuff like that.
It's not motocross. It's what do they call? I'm blanking on
I had one of the bikes with
Like the mini GP bikes or something?
No, it's the dirt bikes with street tires.
Yeah, so hypermotard or hyper
Supermoto.
Supermoto. That's
Yes,
right.
Supermoto. Yes,
Supermoto.
there's Supermoto track, and they do have a club.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's basically the kart track.
Supermoto is sweet.
Yeah.
Because they just
For
like
sure.
you just like back the thing in.
Yeah.
Totally. That's fascinating. to
Drag
watch,
the
for
foot.
sure. Yeah.
A lot of karting, a huge karting scene out here. And what the pro series that comes through.
SCUSA came here, the Super Karts USA. They had
really?
like their summer nationals here for a couple of years.
And they run it on the kart track.
Yeah. It's a big kart series.
Okay.
The kart track here is all. I mean, it's huge. It's
They
super
do
nice.
drifting as well. Huge drift community. Really
I
solid
can see it on the outside of the
Yeah.
Formula drift. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, is that the line? Oh, that's just a drift.
So they,
I'm like, am I supposed to be up there?
Oh man.
But the local drift community typically does their days in the paddock.
Okay.
They'll set up cones.
Skid pad.
Yeah,
all that.
yeah. But they'll do it on the kart track as well for
That's
certain
sweet.
days, which is really, really
And
cool.
sometimes they put the carts on the main track. Yeah.
They've
like a
done
couple
that
times?
a couple of times. It's like
Yeah.
a one-off where they'll do like just a track day for the
I guess
karts,
with a
but,
full on like shifter, that main track would actually be pretty good.
Fast.
Yeah.
shifter, yes. Anything that doesn't have a gearbox,
Yeah.
sitting there.
Oh,
going,
yeah.
How long is the front straightaway?
That's how we did a race. A bunch of the teams went out yesterday after they were done, and we all ran the karts. And
Oh, no
yeah,
way.
we had the full grid. Everybody was out there. It was a lot of fun.
Okay.
But yeah, the
Just get
straightaway,
rowdy?
I was like, come on.
Just with the rental carts.
Yeah, the rental karts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's always luck of the draw, right? And then obviously your body
sure.
weight matters a lot.
Yeah.
It drives me nuts.
Yeah.
I did one rental. So they have the rental carts, but during the regular club races, they have a rental cart class.
Okay.
And there was a race that I think it was a rain race. So they canceled the rental cart class.
Oh.
And then they held a makeup race on like a Thursday.
Okay.
And I saw it was Ayrton. I saw that he was on the registration for it. So I texted him like, dude, are you racing?
For the rental carts?
For the rental carts. He's like, yeah. So I'm like, all right. So I signed up.
Nice.
And it was so much fun.
Ayrton runs a kart team and they do everything from shifters to.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But man, it was so frustrating because I was outweighing a lot of the drivers by 70 pounds and they don't do a light or a heavy. So like,
Speaking of driver excuses.
That's valid. That's 100% valid.
no, I felt so
Power to
bad.
weight, baby.
I ended up like sort of getting into it a little bit with like, I don't know. He was tall. He looked more mature than he was. So I see him take the helmet off. I'm like, kid's like 13. I'm like, dude, I've just been like literally like elbowing this child out of the way.
Should just reached over and turned off his gas.
I know, right? Yeah. I see him with his dad. He's all frustrated. I'm like, oh my God. Like I just felt like a bully in that
Oh, did you
moment.
get into it with him?
No, just on track. Like I ended up basically
okay.
having to move him out of the way. Like he was slower in the corners, but on the straightaways he was just walking away.
Rubbing
So to
face.
get around him like last lap, just sort of like went inside, sort of ushered him wide off the line and then came
Nicely.
down.
Gently placing him into the dirt.
Yeah. I felt bad.
Didn't
I wouldn't
see him there. Yeah.
I wouldn't have felt bad if it was anyone that was sort of age appropriate, a friend, and I just
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
realize after.
Yeah.
Jeez.
You hopped out of the cart immediately, ran over, like armbar, like dragged him out.
That's what you get. You play for keeps here.
Do you get hot under the helmet if you have an incident? Do you take? Are you pretty cool?
Yeah,
in
I have
general?
this is actually a funny racing story, and I cannot find the onboard. I have it somewhere. I got to dig through but there was a WRL race. So one of the first cars I drove in WRL, I helped the owner build a 944, and we threw a Mercedes engine into it. There's a guy named Todd, Mercedes V6. And it was really for the, to make it very durable, long endurance.
It was more
racing.
modern Mercedes.
Yeah, more modern Mercedes V6, and not a lot of power, like 180, 190 horsepower, but 944s are pretty light. And so it was a great car to drive. I mean, they're fun to drive, but there's just these dudes that were just very aggressive on passing and being real assholes. And so I gave the finger to him like really hard. And to the point, like I hit the windshield and I spidered the windshield.
With your middle finger?
I was like, oh, all right, maybe take it down and take
That's
it
an
down a
aggressive
touch.
middle finger.
Yeah, I was hot. I've given a lot of middle fingers. You don't all see them. I haven't Tommy Milnered anyone yet. I haven't stuck it out the window, but there's plenty of onboard with me. Like
So
I get over it pretty quick, but in the moment, I'll let them know how I feel.
well, just so you know, the new livery racing glove that we have yet to release, the livery logo is on the middle finger.
That's good to know.
That's
on
I'm
purpose.
gonna get you guys a lot of.
Yeah, we need a lot of footage of that.
Yeah,
Yeah. We want to do a montage
I'll
of drivers just.
You need the willpower,
yeah.
double guns. I can't remember who it was. Was it the qualifying session? You know what I'm talking about?
I don't remember.
I think it was in the race. It
I'll
might
look
have
it
been
up
in
later.
Laguna Seca. Sometime in the past couple of years. Just the camera's right on him. He's out of the car, and out of nowhere, he just gives the double guns to someone going by. So great.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I don't think I've heard of someone breaking the windshield with their middle finger.
Yeah, I have it on footage. That's why I can verify this is
like
real.
the onboard.
Yeah, because the camera. I mean, you see it. The windshield. It probably had a chip in it. I like to think I just hulked it, but there's probably some imperfection in the windshield, anyways. But I hit it in the right spot, and then I was like, oh well.
What about out of the car? Do you get pretty in tech? You get out and have
no,
words?
I don't. I'm pretty chill once I get out of the car. Like, unless I guess I've not run into a scenario, knock on wood, that's been so egregious that I've like, hey, I need to deal with this. Plus, all the ones I see in NASCAR are just a bunch of TV BS anyway. So, like, if you're gonna do it, go do it. Like,
right,
go fight. Like, I want to see the fight.
You want to see some contact?
Yeah. But no, I actually had I ran the 992 Cup in Indy in 23. I got to race the Sprint Challenge race in that car. And the second race, one of the other drivers was like upset that somehow I messed up the start. I beat him, but he didn't like the way the start went, which I got checked up really in front of us is what happened. But he kind of rear-ended me on the way in on the in lap, and he got out of the car and he tried to come up and like bow up on me.
In lap. Okay.
Yeah, like we were like coming into the paddock.
I assume you didn't know what your day job was.
Yeah, I was like, that's why probably I didn't care. I was like, okay,
yeah.
And I was like, what's the problem? Like, I started where I started, and he quickly realized like I was not intimidated at all, and then backed down, and I never saw him again. But he has like a film crew and everything over there, and I was like, you're not going to get the response out of me that you want. So.
Wait, one finger up to his.
It was a Sprint Challenge film crew, or it was his film crew?
It was his film crew, not Sprint Challenge.
So he was trying to tell a story.
I think he was trying to tell a story. He didn't get what he wanted out of that one.
Yeah,
and if he had, it wouldn't have ended well either way. So.
Yeah, he wasn't using the footage either way. Yeah,
I was like, this is a lose-lose for you, my man.
So tactically speaking, someone's coming at you. Are you going for more grappling, leaving the helmet on, go for a takedown?
I mean, leave your helmet on for sure.
Yeah,
like, why take it off?
This guy's he's a jiu-jitsu guy. So
Muay Thai.
I mean,
Muay Thai now? What? No.
What? No,
since
Muay
when?
Thai. Well, that's good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I mean, I guess in like a self-defense scenario, grappling is not. I mean, you got to think about it. If you were, I don't know. This is kind of on a tangent, but if you were like downtown, right, and someone like attacks you, if they have a knife or something, you're grappling with them. They're gonna just stab the hell out of you, and like you may have control and like, oh, I'm winning the grapple fight, but. Right. Kind of keeping distance is generally what
you're adding up the points in your head as you're getting stabbed.
Yeah, like, oh, look, I got you, and he's just like, kind of like. I think that actually happened to I think there's like a real world scenario where that occurred, where like a guy who's a great MMA fighter got him in a grapple, and actually the whole time the dude had like a small knife and had stabbed him a bunch of times. I mean, he was okay. I think he survived it, but
when I got into the sport, none of my friends were into it, and it'd always be the game like, "Do you beat that guy up? Think you beat that?" Dude, I don't know, whatever, and like. Yeah, I have a better chance, but the reality is like I compete in a sport where we wear like silk short shorts. We wrap our hands in cotton before we put them into these little padded mittens. Like, yes, it is
there's
a
an acceptable rule set. Yeah.
Exactly. There's a referee that stops it if anyone does anything. So it's very different than the real world applications. Like obviously like kinetically, physically, sure, I have an advantage, but the reality is exactly what you're saying. Like there are way more variables outside of the ring
for sure.
that I will never, ever get involved with, hopefully.
Yeah.
But bringing it back to racing, I feel like helmet, that's a good weapon, right? Like,
I mean, if they try to throw a punch at you, that's not going to work out too well for them. But
I know. That is fun. It's one of the best things in NASCAR when they do throw hands to the head with the helmet on.
Yeah, like you didn't much. I was like, that thing's made for like massive G impacts. Like your little fist ain't doing nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, I've never gotten so heated, and at the end of the day, you're just like, I guess if there was a scenario where hey, you did something stupid and it cost me a potential to get a result I was looking for, and it was like a really high consequence, but I've just not come across that situation. And even still, you're kind of like, we're racing, and
I think I'd be more prone to do some covert
happens.
ops and just steal all their valve stems or something.
That'd be more my role. Like, all right, hey, we can play this.
Right? Yeah.
You show up tomorrow and you're like, none of your tires are inflated.
Psychological warfare.
Or just like look like you took something but never take anything.
Right.
Just like everything's ruffled up and they're like, but nothing's gone, so you didn't really actually commit a crime.
You just keep dropping bolts in their pit box. You're just like, well, that's interesting.
The old Ford versus Ferrari the movie. Yeah. Drop the bolts on the ground.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, the thing is with your guys' training, like You guys are used to getting hit. I think that's a big thing.
It is interesting. I mean, I think our trainings are drastically different. Like mine, again, sport, hobby, no real world application. But it's really interesting. Like you would see people in the gym and some people look really tough until they get hit in the face.
Yeah.
Other people don't look tough at all. And then you see them be in a combat, sport scenario where they're getting pushed and they're in there with someone bigger, or you can see they're gassing out. You never know who's got it in them. That's just like, fuck it. We're here. We're doing this.
It's like that Mike Tyson quote of like, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face.
It was really interesting to see that. You get an insight into people that you wouldn't get otherwise when you interact with them in that way. At least I found.
That's a lot like the type of training. Like when I run a number of part of the schoolhouse that I run. We do a lot of the assessment selection portions for our officers and folks that come into the community. And so, hey, they've got good PT tests and their application looks great on paper. And they're like, yep, that's all cool and good until we put you in the environment. And then like, we're really stressing you. Everyone's in your face. You're getting pushed to physical limits that like your PT test doesn't really put you at, right? Like it's going to test where you're at. It's a baseline. It's a measurable, objective piece of data for us to just say, are you prepared? Did you put the work in? But when you show up and you're like, hey, what are you made of? Well, I don't figure that out through a PT test. I figure that out by pushing you beyond where you feel comfortable. And we do that in the water. We do that on land. And that you see you can see people that you're like, oh, this guy's going to be strong. And he's got the show muscles, not the go muscles. And, then you see him and they just they crack. Right. And so that's what's really interesting is that resilience piece is what you're looking for. And I'm sure that combat sports definitely highlights that just as much as like what's between your ears actually is the bigger thing.
Do you see that in drivers as you race with them throughout a season?
Yeah, you can see drivers that are very easy. I mean, you can see them it's easy to get under their helmet pretty fast. Like they get super aggressive. They get pissed off if you do something to them, and you can get them out of their rhythm pretty quick. Okay. And so those are the folks that you just know all you have to do is just get them out of their rhythm, and then they're going to make a mistake. And when they start making mistakes, it compounds on itself. And so you're like, hey, you don't necessarily have to push the issue. And then there's the guys that are just like stone cold, and you're just like, hey, they're not going to make a mistake, and you've just got to be on the pace, and you're going to have to do something out of the unexpected to get around them. And so
it's one of my favorite things is especially when you're chasing a guy is like just trying stuff and seeing how their reaction is and then controlling them.
Yeah.
It is so satisfying.
Oh, that's the best. I have this one, Canada is a great example of this. I had this one where, like I said, we had the caution, we're back in racing, and I just get the guy out of the sequence. And it's like, I was talking to my wife about it. I was like, I was planning on passing him like 3 corners later than when I started making moves. Cause I was like, I'm not going to get this to stick here. Maybe if I do, great, but likely this is going to happen later. And you just get him out of the entire sequence of the S section. And then, he's like offline, he's trying to fight the car, and you just like wait for it. And then, do the over under, and you're just like, hell yeah, that's
just make it look easy.
Yeah. I planned that. And sometimes you did, sometimes you didn't, but that one I did. Yeah.
Yeah, and just trying different, like just popping out, popping back in, like do a dummy, go inside, outside, inside.
Like dummy is the best one to sell. When you can pull a dummy off, you're like, oh yeah, that felt good.
We don't have mirrors, so I don't see it anyways. I'm just like, oh my God.
You just feel like a superhero when it happens. But like when you got a guy ahead of you that you just know is not going to make mistakes. You can be on him and like in his mirror the whole time, and it's like you're not even there.
Yeah.
Those are where you have to get real sendy.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's they'll drive fast offline, they'll drive fast online.
Yeah.
Like, you just gotta. The ideal thing I've found with guys like that is you just got to try to be next to them, and just someone wins. At some point, it's just the nature of it. Someone wins out, but. Yeah, those are the tough races. Those are the ones that are the most fun, though, I think. Yeah.
For sure. Especially if you trust the guy, or especially if you guys are like, give space.
Point. Yeah.
And it's not going to just walk you off into the gravel.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
But
how are they here? Is everything pretty in general?
WRL is pretty good. Yeah. I mean, the challenge you run into, I think, with the series is, you've got guys with my experience level driving the slowest car in the slowest class. And so,
best car.
Yeah. Well, our car's the slowest car. So, and then you've got folks in like GT3 car or GT4 cars, that don't really have much experience.
Don't have the pace.
And they're not very fast. And so you just, managing that is good. But respect wise, I think for the most part, this weekend especially, I've not seen any cautions. I think that have caused by contact other than like a mistake someone made. But yeah, it's been pretty good here.
Do you think it's self-moderated, or do you think it's the organizers?
They're strict.
They
like
are.
WR is very strict about contact. So like there's no acceptable form of contact. Someone's in, I mean, I guess there are at times like, hey, the situation, it happens. But like,
so no drafting, no
bump drafting. You absolutely can't. That's considered contact. Yeah. If you bump draft. So they're very strict about that here.
Do they give you guidelines where it's like, hey, if a wheel is to the door, to the rear axle that you have to concede, or do they kind of let you race?
Yeah, I don't know if they have. I think they have an official rule book on how that's defined. They have stewards that do it. Actually, the lead steward he's the steward for VP Challenge and IMSA. Same guy. So I see him here. I'm like, oh, hey, what's going on? Yeah. So, so he's pretty good at it, and they've got high standards. And so
I can't imagine being new to racing and then just jumping into a multi-class endurance race.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Especially with the speed differential of these cars, like MPO1 around here, especially. I mean, it's that car is hooked up. Yeah.
What's even crazier is the Lucky Dog stuff where there's no.
Oh, it's based off your pace, right?
There's like no credentials at all.
Wow,
and like half the field is like their first time racing.
Yeah.
And they just like, yeah, go have fun. Like 70 car field. Like, here we go.
Yeah. That sounds so fun for someone like me, being that guy that's like, I've never raced a car before. Let's see how this goes.
Just go do that.
And you'd have a great time. I mean, it is a very, like, honestly, a low stress, like you can do it. And that's, I mean, Champ Car is the same way. You just show up and race, and you don't feel like, oh man, I don't know, it's not as stressful, I'd say, of a weekend as some other race series can be.
Do you think, if you were to give someone advice on how to get started in road racing, do you think that is a good avenue to start?
It just depends, like what bill do you want to pay? Do you want to rent a seat and not have to worry about the car part of it? Because if you want to buy a car and go down that whole road, that's its own ball of wax, right? And then. So I didn't do that because I was just like, I just don't have the time. I did motorcycles. I did all my own maintenance and built the bikes and all that stuff. But I was just like, I can't do that with a car. I don't have the space, tools, like just buying that alone. It was like, don't have budget to go racing. So I think it's a great place to start because like my first seat in the Nissan, it was a 12-hour race. I got to drive 2 or 3 hours that weekend in total on track, which is a pretty good time. I think it was $1,200, and I shared that car with like 3 drivers.
That's pretty unbeatable.
Yeah, I mean, you're not gonna beat that. And so even WRL, even in a Miata, you spend $4,000 for the weekend, and you get essentially 2 8-hour races plus a practice day. Like it's just unmatched track time.
Do you guys run the same tire set the whole weekend?
We do. I mean, do I want to do that? No, but do we do that? That's how we're running right now. So the practice session, everything. Well, no, practice, we did something different. We had an old set of tires, but
compounds are really hard, right? The spec.
Yeah, it's 200 treadwear is kind of I guess, can you go lower now? I think 200 treadwear is the limit on how low the tire can be. They have in the GP, the GP class is general production car. So people that essentially built a race car out of a street car, that's what they all are. They have a Continental as the tire sponsor. So everyone uses a spec tire requirement that you use those tires, the extreme contacts. Yeah. But up in GTO, you have options on like,
you do.
Do you want to run Yoko AO52 is kind of the gold standard, I'd say. But,
Okay.
And then there's a Hoosier that came out that's like very grippy, very fast, but it drops off a cliff pretty quickly. So good for quali. If you got the budget, people will quali those and then run the AO52.
So if you're in a class that can run a slick and not a 200 tray wear, is it can you do any slick, or do they say you have to use the Yoko, or you can use a Michelin or a Pirelli?
I think the Hoosier is the only tire. I don't know if it's considered a full on slick. I think it's got some tread in it, very minimal.
Okay,
but I think it's like a 180 tread wear. I don't know exactly how it works. I haven't been in a class this season, but
so there's no classes that allow a full slick.
No slicks. No.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah, so it's supposed to be more budget friendly, but really the top teams, if they're doing, I think they're using more sets of tires and still a good amount of tire money. At the end of the day.
For sure. So.
Yeah. Well, WRL I think is really interesting in that it sort of kind of bridges the gap between sort of club racing, more low key stuff, and
pro series.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I mean, some of the teams they're spending a lot of money this weekend.
Yeah, there are. You got cup cars out here running. You've got all the GT4s. Pretty much every manufacturer, short of Porsche, just because of the way the rules work. That car doesn't. I don't think the GT4 RS would fit in very well. Just the way you got to do power weight, it would be tough to.
Yeah,
there's probably a way to do it. I just don't know anyone's going to try to take that on.
I know
yet.
the Audis have been hard to be competitive in, like the R8 last year, 2
Yeah.
years ago.
Yep.
So,
yeah. It seems like you got to have a turbo car just because you can manipulate the torque curves really well and kind of move the power where you need it to be to match things. And so, I'll leave it at that. I'll stay political. I think there's a lot of other things that happen with turbo cars that you can just button your way into it. Like the M4, for example, if you wanted to, I can just change the tune in the car on grid and then turn it back,
Okay. You can do like mapping from the dash.
Yeah. And like it's just in the M4, the G82 in the center console, there's just a button sequence and you get in and you can just change the power levels.
Okay.
So I'm not saying anyone's doing that, but
it's possible. But it's possible.
If they're not looking at data like they do in other series,
right?
They're just looking at lap times and then doing a dyno on the back end.
Yeah. Does WRL pull data or not?
They'll put a black box in. I don't know exactly what they measure, but
okay.
Yeah. So again, there's possibility there. I'm not saying that's happening. The racing is pretty.
Nobody
pretty
ever
balanced.
cheats in racing. I don't know what you're talking about.
I know it happens.
Do you think WRL is kind of the best opportunity for people trying to get pro level experience?
You're going to run into a lot of pros. Like number of guys I raced with an IMSA are here. Josh Bilicki is here. He's a NASCAR dude. I think we've had who is it? Oh, man, there's a NASCAR guy that comes out like every year at COTA and brings a tube chassis, and they're fast. And I'll think of the name later, but. Yeah, you just get a lot of guys that come down and that are up at that level and they want to get more seat time or learn a new track. Like that's how Mid Ohio was. I came down because I hadn't been there, so it's a good way to get a lot of seat time and for more budget level. I get some rides down here for free to do coaching and stuff, and so you'll see guys come down and do that and just looking for experience and not necessarily maybe they're getting paid, but I don't usually look for that. I'm just trying to get track time. So. Yeah, you'll get that exposure, and then if you can ask questions, I mean, we're all pretty approachable, I think. So that's a good way, and the racing is good, and so you'll see like how do I stack up against a guy that's been doing it at that level, and
So for someone that's just coming into pro racing, it sounds like it's pretty unbeatable experience.
Yeah, I always point people towards WRL. It's a good experience, and it's fun.
They do a good job on like the broadcast, and there's
it's good enough. I mean, for what you're expecting to get, it's not. No, you're not going on Peacock and all that stuff, but you're still got something there, right? You can find some value if you need to put sponsors out there. There's ways to manipulate it, so it's not it's not going to be IMSA or the Daytona 24
for sure.
But it's just good. It's good fun, and the community is good too. So.
And all the races the same length generally?
Yeah, they bounce between. They do some longer races. I think when they were at High Plains, they did like a 12-hour there. It was only one day. And then it's usually an 8 and a 7. And then that's pretty common. 8 and 7. Then they'll do some longer 14 hours sometimes or 12 hours. They did a 24 hour. We did 1 year, we did 24 hour at Sebring. Yeah. That
with the GP1 class?
That was with everybody. Yeah. That didn't. I think that was a 1 year thing. I think
they that was enough.
Next year. We didn't survive that race.
All those homemade race cars, like how many of those rattled apart?
Yeah.
That's why they started at 80 cars and finished with 4.
Yeah. It was rough on the field, and I think everyone. Yeah.
Man, 24 hours at sea.
That's something else.
Everyone had to do a suspension change like at 12 hours. Then.
Yeah, normally a brake change. We had to add in a whole damper change too, just to
control arms, the whole thing. Yeah,
it's like a mandatory 3-hour break in the middle just to rebuild my car so I can finish this race.
Oh man, that's amazing. I didn't know they did that. Did you ever do like the 25-hour Thunderhill? Or
man, that would be a cool one.
Yeah,
I did the 24-hour at VIR with Champ Car. They do one there.
Well, NASA moved it to it's at Ozarks now.
Oh, really?
They're not doing Thunderhill anymore.
Track.
Yeah,
I've raced Thunderhill or done track day on there on a motorcycle.
At Thunderhill?
Yeah, which was I had like a 72 Chevy C10 or something, and I just loaded my bike up in the back of that and took it from Washington all the way. It was like a 10-hour drive. Never ever would I do that again.
Drive at Thunderhill in a motorcycle, or
to like road trip that old truck with all my
C10.
Yeah, with my bike in the back, and it was a lot.
Oh man!
But the things you do for racing, right? So
we're all just trying to get That's the thing too, going back to, just being grateful. Every time I'm in the car, every time it's working, and every time like there's a track to be on, you just have to like remind yourself that like you're there, because the car might not work the next race. I mean, it's always like hit or miss, right? Like something could go wrong. There could be crash damage. There could be,
well, your day to day, right? Like you're out because of a mechanical. Do you think you'll be good for tomorrow? You're gonna.
They're probably texting me a couple times. Yeah, the other guys are going to drive today, so I was like, I don't need any more laps right now. So if they got it going, which I imagine they will.
So you might get back out on track today.
Well, they're going to send the other guys haven't driven much this weekend, so we'll let them. Whatever's left for the day, they'll get to run it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's like we were talking about earlier. You're saying, hey, F1 drivers, they ball the car up in the wall and they get out and they're like, all right, well, on to the next session, and it's just kind of have that ability to just don't get too high, don't get too low. I think there's this Roger Federer gave like a commencement speech. You guys may have seen this, but he was talking to the graduating class and was like, hey, in his career, he won 80% of his matches. But of those matches, I think he said he only won like 51% of the points, right? And so he's like, his point was, hey, that point when you're in it, that's the most important point in the world.
Yeah.
But there's a 50-50 chance that you don't win it.
Yeah, you're failing half the time.
You're failing half the time. Like you got to move on, and then that's out of your mind to move on to the next thing. And so it's a pretty good way to think about things. It applies a lot to racing, and it's like, it's just some weekends that are not your weekends, and you could do all the right prep things. You could be wicked fast, and something small like a new engine that they had put in just decides to grenade itself, and you're like, oh, that sucks.
Yeah. Was that a new motor that was in the car?
That was new for here. Okay. And so that first day, we didn't expect it to blow up, but it did. So pretty spectacularly, actually. So at least it was a good one.
Well, hopefully racing, right? Tomorrow. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
The highs and lows.
Yeah.
You have to have engines blow up so you know what it's like when the engine doesn't blow up.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I tell myself.
I had in karting, the motors, they're mostly sealed. They're pretty durable. But I had a multiple times in one season where I forget to torque the wheels down, and the wheels just come off.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they just they just get brittle. And
this is what happens when you run your own cart, James.
Totally, yes. And I'm running my own cart. There's no.
Wait, so how does it get bolted on? I'm curious. I don't know.
There's just 3 little copper, like 10 mil. So there's 3 lugs, and then you just go on. And like the problem is sometimes they'll feel tight.
Gotcha.
Particularly if you cross thread them, not that I've ever done that. So you're like torque them, and then there's still play. And then because the tires are so small, they're revolving really quickly, and they're like magnesium wheels. So the way that they break is usually like bend, and then go. Yeah. So the whole center part of the wheel just separates from the rest. And like I definitely there was a season where I had a bad habit of forgetting to do that, and I was at the track racing, going through the thumb, look over, see my wheel come off, my cart goes off in the other direction, and in that moment, we were talking about getting heated. I just was like, you know what? I'm over this. I started walking past the supermoto track, and in my mind, I'm like, I'm hopping the fence, I'm getting into my truck, and I'm just leaving. Helmet on, everything. I'll pick up everything else tomorrow. Like that was my honest thought. And then one of the flaggers was like, dude, you got to stay here. And I'm like, okay, fine. And at the time, there were some people that their kids were racing that were like legitimate heroes of mine growing up.
Yeah.
And, we come back, and I'm, calling down after the heat, and people were kind of laughing.
Yeah.
And they're like, it was really funny. You just literally, cart wasn't even stopped yet. You were out of it, and you just started walking in the wrong direction. And everyone was kind of, I was like, oh man, was this guy laughing at me? And like someone like, yeah. They were like laughing at you in your moment of absolute pain and despair.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
good times.
Well, I appreciate having you on, Chris.
Yes,
How do people follow you? How do they find you?
Yeah, most of my stuff is Instagram.
Okay.
Instagram, and I guess I have a Facebook page too, and a website, but Instagram's got all that stuff on it. So it's like walsh.usa is my handle. That's where I put most, if I post things.
Yeah.
I try to be good about it, but that's where it's at. I guess I'll give a shout out to you guys. You guys have helped me out this year and given me some sweet gear, and what you're doing with the kind of lifestyle side of the brand, I think is really unique and doesn't exist. We were chatting about that yesterday, and just kind of seeing something that's like, hey, I'd wear this every day, and things that I want to have in my closet. that aren't just covered in Michelin and VP Racing logos. I think that's really cool. So
I
for folks that
appreciate
are out
that.
there, yeah, I mean, this is good stuff. I've run your suit all year. It's been great. It's got a lot of features that other manufacturers aren't doing, like the comms loops and some of those special things that you do with that are just the little things that you don't really think would make a big difference that are like really, really helpful. So,
I use those loops way more than I thought I would.
yeah.
Like, so, just constantly.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
like,
so,
this is the best thing ever.
Normally you're like, how do I keep the thing in the right amount of the cable sticking out of my suit?
Yeah.
And now you're just like, just loop it through there and
it's just
set.
there.
Yeah. That's nice. Little things. Yeah.
Oh, it's good to hear. We love having you as an ambassador and repping the brand, and
appreciate it.
Super excited about what you did this year and looking forward to a lot more years of it. So
yeah, we'll keep it going next year for sure.
Hell yeah.